He was, yeah.
All right. We are live currently.
Aren't we always live?
All right, Aaron, tell me whenever you're ready. Come on, Tug.
I want to check the audio first.
No, that works. We look, we want to make sure we get this right for everybody out there watching so that it's actually the audio that we have set as the expectation here on Implicit Bias Radio, as opposed to just room audio, which happens, but that doesn't necessarily work as radio is in the name. It needs to sound like radio. You think that works?
Is it live or is it Memorex?
No, you know,
People don't know who Memorex is.
Renee, I made a comment today about MapQuest
Wait,
on a call, and people were like, "What's MapQuest?" I'm like, "Oh dear God!"
Like for real? For real?
Yeah.
the predecessor to Google Map.
All right, so you're telling me we're good, right?
Yeah, we are good on audio. We're good on video.
Just let me know whenever you're ready.
All right, let's get ready to run the monologue. 3, 2.
It is the lost episode of Implicit Bias, and if we can't laugh at ourselves, well, the reality is we can't laugh at anyone. But if we can laugh at ourselves, well, then we get to laugh at you. Yes, this is our Implicit Bias. I'm Kevon Bordelon. We hope you are laughing with us, at us. The reality is we don't care as long as you're joining us for this episode of Implicit Bias Radio. It is our absolute joy to share a weekly whiskey with you and discuss a universally cherished, often underappreciated part of our lives: laughter. In our pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, laughter plays an indisputable role. It lightens our burdens, it connects us with others, and it even offers profound benefits. Now, the Bible, in its wisdom, acknowledges the significance of laughter and joy in our lives. In Ecclesiastes 3:4, we're reminded that there is a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance. This verse really beautifully encapsulates the natural rhythm of life, recognizing that moments of sorrow are actually balanced out by moments of joy and laughter. Laughter is not merely a fleeting emotion, though. It's a divine gift that enriches our souls and brings balance to our lives. Laughter is also a source of strength. Proverbs 17:22 tells us a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Now, this is a powerful statement. It highlights the therapeutic nature of laughing, not just with others, but at them. Scientific studies have even shown that laughter can reduce stress, boost the immune system, and improve overall physical health. When we laugh, our bodies actually release endorphins, that feel-good hormone that promotes a sense of well-being. So then laughter is not just an emotional response, but a source of strength and actually healing. Laughter connects us. It actually breaks down barriers, fosters empathy, strengthens relationships. When we share a laugh with others, we can create a bond that can transcend differences and build a sense of community in a world that, unfortunately, today often feels divided. Laughter can be a unifying force that brings people together with a light heart, jovial perspective. So, especially in times of trial, laughter is needed. In times of hardship, laughter can be a powerful tool for resilience. Think about Job, who showed unwavering faith and occasional moments of humor amidst monumental suffering. In Job 8:21, it actually says, "He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy." The verse actually serves as a reminder that even in our darkest hours, the potential for joy and laughter must remain. It's through laughter that we actually find hope and the strength to persevere. After all, our situations are, for lack of a better term, temporary. And in our situations, we can either cry or we can laugh. And here's where maybe the best part comes in. Laughing in the midst of adversity, well, that's really just a different way to worship, to pray, if you think about it, to be thankful for the things that are good in our lives, as opposed to focusing on the things that aren't. So if we really think about it, it's actually an act of prayer, an expression of gratitude for the blessings that we receive. So when we laugh, we acknowledge the goodness of God and the abundance of his grace. Laughter becomes a form of praise, a testament to the joy that faith brings in our lives. Laughter is a precious and indispensable aspect. So it's a divine gift that brings balance, strength, connection, resilience. The Bible, with its profound wisdom, encourages us to embrace laughter. It's actually a source of joy and healing, and maybe the best way to present truth, which may upend not just ours, but your worldview too. So as we navigate the complexities of life, don't forget to find moments of laughter. Share those with those around you. We should honor the divine intention. We should laugh as much as possible, because if we don't, well, the only other option is to act like some people have been acting for a little while now. Act like a 2-year-old. Go ahead and cry. We're not going to be crying here. We're going to solve the problems of the world 1 or 2 or 10 weekly whiskeys at a time. We're going to make fun of ourselves. We're going to make fun of everybody else too, because that's what Implicit Bias Radio is all about. We'll be right back with our weekly whiskey and your favorite Implicit Bias Radio. So remember, we're still live, just so everybody knows. So hopefully there are people out there watching. Welcome to those who are. And trust me, the show's about to get real fun because we're about to get into the whiskey.
I was gonna ask.
You want to turn on your microphone?
Yeah, whenever it works. I don't know at what point it works.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, look, Tug showed up.
Yeah, Tug's here. Woohoo!
Yeah.
You have to excuse me. I'm doing like 8 things.
No, yeah, we know you're
That's
managing.
what you do all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Can
uh,
Saunter do any of that for you? Can he help you there?
So what's your favorite joke then? We're going to talk about laughter.
Oh, I can't say my favorite joke while we're streaming. That
so,
will get me canceled.
So there was I think I said it last night. 'Cause
That's how bad it is.
when you started off, you said something about hormones and everything else, right? One of my favorite jokes is, what's the difference between a hormone and a gene?
I don't want to know.
Tug, you know?
Please tell me that this is not going to get us banned, because we are live streaming this.
Oh, yeah, it's not bad. You can't hear a gene.
See, I actually will tell. I will tell one of my favorites, and it's a Little Johnny joke,
Okay.
and it's a Little Johnny joke that I told in a speech and debate competition in high school in 1991. So Little Johnny's in class, and the teacher is walking through a visualization exercise,
Mhm.
and the teacher says, "Okay, I want you to give a description, or I'm going to give a description. I want you to come up with what I'm talking about. So we're going to start to work on adjectives, things of this nature." So the first thing that the teacher says is, "I'm thinking of something round, and its color is orange." So Susie in the front, it's an orange. Yes. Great. That was obvious, right? She says, "Now I'm thinking of something that's tall, rectangular. It opens and closes, and it seals one room from another." But Stevie in the back says, "A door." She says, "Yes." Well, Little Johnny raises his hand, and he's had his hand, and he, So she goes through 3 or 4 of these, and just finally she goes, "All right, Johnny." He says, "Mrs. Johnson, I've got something in my pocket. It's round and it has a head on it." And she goes, "Johnny," he goes, "It's a quarter, but I like the way you think."
Some of those Little Johnny and Little Susie jokes are like the best there are.
Well, I can't tell like the rat one,
I don't know that one. So
the Little Johnny rat joke. Yeah, you'll find that one.
this one's good. So Little
Uh-oh.
Johnny and Susie are sitting in class, and Sister Mary Margaret's the teacher, right?
Oh no.
So little Susie falls asleep. Sister Mary Margaret's walking around, and she's asking questions. She goes, "You know what? Susie always falls asleep in class. I'm going to get her. I'm going to catch her while she's asleep, and we're all going to know it." So she says, "Little Susie, who is the mother of our Savior?" No response, because she's sleeping. A little while goes by. "Little Susie, who is the mother of our Savior?" Johnny pokes in the back with a pencil. She goes, "Mother Mary, Father of Christ." "Yes, that's right, Susie. You got it. You got it." So a little while goes on, a little longer, and she falls asleep again. Sister Mary Margaret's like, "All right, I'm gonna get her this time. I'm gonna catch her." "Little Susie, what's another word for the Messiah?" No response. She's sleeping. "Little Susie, what's another word for another name for the Messiah?" Well, Johnny pokes her in the back again.
You tell me when we're ready.
She's like,
keep going.
"Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior." She's like, "Son of a gun, this girl's on point." So a little while goes on. Susie falls
I'm
asleep
afraid
a
of
third
where
time.
this is going.
Little Johnny's sitting in the back and he's got his pencil. And she goes, little Susie, what did Eve say to Adam on their first night they were together?
I don't need the punchline because I know where this is going. Yep. I know where this is going.
That's good.
By the way, it's probably something like, would you stop poking me with that thing?
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I drove it home. Sometimes I drone.
All right. Okay, so first of all, do we have anybody out there watching, anybody on the live stream with us here for Implicit Bias, the lost episode?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got a few.
Awesome.
I'm commenting.
Oh, you're commenting. Oh, yeah. So Caleb's the one person we have on with us.
Yep,
All right,
yep.
let's get to the weekly whiskey segment. Let's dive into this.
3, 2.
Welcome back to Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kavan Bordelon. And for those of you who aren't on the social media side of this episode, we're calling this the lost episode of Implicit Bias. And yeah, we're going to talk about just absolute laughter and how making fun of things actually helps. So we're going to make fun of everybody here in the TSPL. We're going to make fun of ourselves. We're going to make fun of everybody else out there because, you know, they say, oh, if you can't make fun of yourself, or if you can't make fun of anybody, if you can't make fun of yourself, we believe that if you can make fun of yourself, you get to make fun of everybody. So we're going to do that too. Let me start by introducing you to the crew here in the TSPL, presented by Mr. Lester Steakhouse, the only 5-star steakhouse between New Orleans and Houston. Let me start at the bar. And I have a feeling, so we're going to get to see him actually for this episode. We're going to put Aaron on camera. Aaron, did the gentlemen at the bar need to actually get a little bit closer to each other? Does that need to happen? I know you've got a microphone, so you can say it.
I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, so they're going to get a little closer, and we're going to introduce you to who that is while they manage that. That is the numismatist. He is Louis Pizzolatto, Coin and Treasure in Lafayette, Louisiana, as well as Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, Rene Girard, who is a regular here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. Then, of course, in the chair, much like mine, he is the man, the myth, the legend. We're getting to the season where he's going to want to be called the Tan, the myth, the legend, and he's going to ask me to do it. Watch, because he's that vain. He is Caleb Morris, the rustic renegade, and we are diving into our weekly whiskey segment. So for those out there who are weekly whiskey consumers, connoisseurs, aficionados of the beverage, we have one that we are going to sample here. It's available at one of our weekly whiskey partners in Lafayette, Louisiana. It is a Wilderness Trail store pick for Nunu's, coming in at 112.8 proof. So let's start at the bar. Tug, are they close enough?
I think that's just right.
Just right. Okay, so Rene, let's start with you. This is the first Wilderness Trail that you're having that is the
Right.
store pick from Nunu's.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
get to have the one last week,
Right.
which we'll let you sample later on in the show,
Okay.
as long as we don't get drunkle.
No,
I can't get drunkle either, so don't
Yeah.
worry. All right. So what do you
I
think
don't
about
know.
this?
It seems like sometimes you hit drunkle before I do now.
Oh, that's rare.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it never happens. Is it possible? Sure.
Yes.
Is it probable? Not so much. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one?
I can't believe it's a 112 proof. It drinks like about an 85 or 90 proof. It's very smooth. I'm getting some licorice out of it, which I'm not a big fan of licorice, but it's not too heavy to, for my taste. I like this one. It's very, very smooth.
And you're not normally a proof hound, Rene.
No,
You're not one of
no, I
those
like-
that likes
I
higher
like
proof.
105 and less.
Yeah.
I'm more of a 90, 95 guy.
It's because you're a wuss. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I am. But,
Look, it's okay because I'm a wuss when it comes to cigars.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that you smoke on a daily
Oh, yeah,
basis,
you-
I'd be
I've
throwing
seen-
up in the garden.
yes, I saw you. I've seen you turn.
You
green.
have seen me turn green. It happens, right? We're going to be honest. It's
Yeah.
funny. So we're going to laugh at it.
Yeah.
It's happened. All right. So let's go to Louis. Louis, I'm curious as to what you think about this particular whiskey, because you're kind of the people here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL this week. You're kind of the new guy. I mean, you are low on the totem pole on tenure, and you're not a whiskey drinker maybe as much as some of the others here.
Yes, I'm not, and yes, I'm not. And I would, to me, this is a little hotter than my taste.
Okay.
I like the flavor, I like it, but I'm not too fond of the burn.
So, okay. So this actually brings us to a conversation for maybe those who are new to the show. Maybe it's just time that we do this again, because we haven't necessarily talked about the way that they teach you to drink whiskey in Kentucky. There's actually a method to the madness. A method to the madness. There's a method to the madness.
Is that Is that Drunkle showing up?
No, that's not Drunkle showing up. That's just me saying so many words that sooner or later one's going to get messed up. There is an absolute method to the madness. So when you sip whiskey, especially something with a higher proof, number one, the last thing you want to do is sip it and inhale. Because if you sip and inhale, you're going to get all those fumes. They're going to go to the back of the throat. They're going to go back down into the lungs, into the body. And that's when you get what they call in Kentucky a Kentucky hug. That's when it chokes you up. That's when the proof really gets to you. As opposed to, which is number two, when you take that sip, exhale, and then exhale through the nose, because you're going to get all the vapors that come up through the sinuses, out the nose. And we know how the sinuses and the taste buds work in concert. You'll now get all of the different flavors, and the proof on the alcohol, believe it or not, starts to all of a sudden dissipate, and you can now consume some of those higher proofs. I actually had this conversation with a guy that I work with, and he was like, I don't know that that's going to work. And he tried it, and he went, oh my God, I taste the difference, and I see how it smooths out a lot of whiskey. So I notice you're just trying it over there. So what do you think? Or do you think I'm full of it?
I guess I'll go with the Kentucky hug, but it's definitely not going to be a Kentucky chug. I can tell you
Oh,
that.
no. Well, if it's a Kentucky chug, honestly, with this, you're probably chugging something you should be savoring. It's a little different. This is, to me, very nice. I like the way it sits on the palate. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment, which means that now it's time to get our absurd, redonkulous, incoherent, yet delicately beautiful description from Caleb Morse, which means that we're going to hear about what this reminds him of when he was across the world in Dubai, and it smells like toasted sand on the eastern side of a dune in Dubai on a very wet Thursday afternoon, right? I mean, I don't know where we're going with this, but Caleb, I'm curious as to what notes you get off of this.
You know, I actually have quite a bit of time in Dubai. Like I really do.
I know you do. That's why I said it.
This one, I'm not getting anything like, I don't have any episodic memories for it.
Are you alive?
Yeah, I mean, I get on the nose, I get
I mean, I'm thinking you're
dark
Mitch
caramel.
McConnell over there with the way you're talking about it.
I get dark caramel on the nose, like almost to where it's burned.
Okay.
You know, fresh vanilla, like a good crisp, clean vanilla on the nose, and then on a palate, I get like, what were those little candies? Not Werther's, but those little candies that old people carry in their pocket. Was it Reasons?
You're talking about butterscotch?
No, it was like a Reason. It was like a chocolate.
Renee, what do you have in your
Renee,
pocket?
I don't have any of those. I got caramels in my pocket.
Yeah.
I think it was called Reasons or something similar to that. It
Okay.
was a dark chocolate with a really dark caramel inside of it. And I get that on the flavor. And then the spice, the burn isn't aggressive. It's not a lot. At 112 proof, you would never guess it. This is so balanced, so clean,
Yeah.
so smooth. It's very, very surprising. Almost like a candied jalapeno. Now, I'm not saying it tastes like a candied jalapeno, but it has that hint of spice where it just
It's got the
it's
sweet,
delicate.
sweet and the spice kind of
Yeah.
sort of
So,
mixed. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not saying it tastes like a candied jalapeno.
No, I'm just using that as a
But it's like a candied jalapeno in the characteristics.
in the the characteristics, because you know there's no seeds or anything else. You get the hint of spice, the little bit of sweet, and you're like, I'm not sure about this, but I think I like
So
it.
what you're telling me is it's exactly like a candied jalapeno, but different.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's strange because nothing really stands out on its own. It is just masterfully done. This is an impressive bourbon, especially at 112.8. I'll give it its 0.8. It should be just put 113, round it up. But it is delicious.
So 5 years, 8 months old.
Yep.
Which, if you would have told me this was 5 years, 8 months, I probably would have said, I think it's a bit younger. To me, it doesn't necessarily sit like something that's, 5 3/4 as you're starting to get to that 6-year mark with bourbon. You start to get to me a little bit more depth with something that might be closer to 6 years. I don't quite get that here. Renee, what do you want to?
I mean, just round it up to 6 years. I mean, if you're going to round up the proof, round it up to 6 years. I mean, that 0.2% of proof, that means something because this is smooth 113, I think, would be too hot.
So I agree with you here completely, though, that with regards to the proof,
Yeah.
this is really smooth.
Oh,
It sits
extraordinarily smooth,
really
yes.
well on the palate. It goes
Yep.
down easy. It is one of those whiskeys that you can give to somebody. And Lewis, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here. Somebody who doesn't drink a ton of whiskey, and you know that it's got some proof, but it's not killing you. It's not so hot that you're not going to drink it. You're probably sitting there going, I'm going to continue to drink it.
I'm drinking it, and I think maybe a couple more glasses, I might have
Yeah.
a totally different opinion
Yeah.
after it kind of.
I
Well,
think that's part of what it is too, because Lewis, when you said it had pepper on it and spice, it was a little high proof. I was like, man, I must have got a different glass. But then I realized this is my second glass.
well, you wanted
third.
to,
This
you,
is my third.
you wanted to pregame, so you had something
Yeah.
before this. Now this is your second glass of this. So what I find interesting, and we're going to let the guys at the bar taste this in a little while, the juxtaposition of this versus the Wilderness Trail that Renee has already
Yeah.
taken the bottle and he's examining at the bar. This to me is good, very good.
It is.
What's at the bar, in my opinion, is exceptional. This is delicious. This is a drinker, but to me, it's just a bit thin. It's just a bit thin. I could use a little more weight on the palate. I could use a little more of the darker flavors, a little bit more. I don't need more spice, but I do need more of the vanilla, the caramel, the oak. I just need that to come out. It just tastes to me like there's a little bit too much water here.
It doesn't have the staying power.
Well, and it's not very viscous either. I'm
No.
looking at it in the glass. It doesn't stick to the glass. It's not very viscous at all. They might have watered it down to get that proof down. I don't know.
Well, and look, so a lot of times what they do is they try to water it down, get the proof where you've got the perfect balance
Right.
between proof and flavor.
Right.
And this might be where that particular barrel
Work.
fits at proof and flavor.
Right.
I'm like you. I might like to see, or I would have loved to have tried it with a little more proof. I would have loved to have tried this in another year and a half. I'd love to try this approaching 7 years or 7 and change, as opposed to 5 years, 8 months. I would love to see this with a little more age underneath it, because I think this has the potential to be exceptionally special.
So we should put it back in the barrel so it can age another 2 years.
No, it doesn't quite work that way. Doesn't quite work that way. But regardless, I still find this very, 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 very,
Oh, yeah.
very, very good. So if our people out there from New News Market, by the way, if you're anywhere in Lafayette and you want to find this, trust me, they are on an absolute tear of their picks as of late. Everything they have picked, everything that Francisco has, their liquor manager in the store, has just been off the chain. Trust me. You want to go by, you want to find it, you want to be able to grab it. Really, any of their locations, because it's just that good. So let's go ahead and rate this. Tug, you are, and I've got to ask, Tug, I know you don't have a glass, but we can make this happen when we take a break between segments. You gonna partake with us? Because technically you're on the air.
I might have a glass.
You might have a glass.
I
Okay.
might have a glass.
You know what that means? That means he doesn't have a choice. He will have a glass. So Tug will be in. We actually have a new assistant because Walker, the implicit bias pledge, isn't here. And actually, what's funny is his name is Walker also. So we have Walker who's not Walker. So we named him Saunter. And that is where we're going to go. Yeah, as they get to wave, because now we have the camera. For those who have never seen what Aaron David, aka Tug, looks like, you now got him on camera in the Top Secret Podcast Lair presented by Mr. Lester's. So we'll get your rating. I don't know that it's going to change what the vote is. So we're going to go ahead and vote on the rating, on the Morse Whiskey rating code, and we're going to play What Would You Pay for the What Would You Pay Championship Belt Chain presented by Mr. Lester Steakhouse at Cypress Bayou Casino. So let's start here. Renee, where do you rate this on the Morse Whiskey rating code? Is it a red? I wouldn't drink it even if it was free. Is it a yellow? I would only drink it if it was free. Is it a green? I would buy this. Or is it a blue? I will seek this out.
Well, before I give a rating, I need a clarification.
Okay.
Okay, we have Walker TOO or TWO.
No, we have Walker. Then we have Saunter, because he is Walker who is not Walker. He is still a walker, but he's not the walker that you know. So he is Saunter, which is another word for walk. So there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. This is a blue. I mean,
blue for
it's-
you. Okay.
Yeah, it's a blue for me.
Okay. All right, Lewis, let's see what you think about this one.
Usually I'm fairly close with the few times I've been here with Renee. Not this time. I'm going to give it a yellow.
Oh, a yellow. That's interesting. So, Caleb, where do you rate this on the Morse Whiskey rating code? Red, yellow, green, or blue?
This is a green for me. It's good. It's lightweight. Well, 112 proof. It's not really a lightweight. But
No,
it
it's
drinks
not.
like a lightweight.
But it does. It's thin,
Yeah,
to be quite
it's-
honest, just a little.
It doesn't have the staying power and the weight it needs to be a blue. So solid green.
Solid green. All right. I'm a solid green too. This is to me absolutely a solid green. I would buy this every single day. I will keep this on my bar. This, a fantastic bottle, but not quite just what it needs to be, that blue. And that's going to break the streak. That
Oh,
is
it has
absolutely
been.
going to break the streak. We have had a streak of like
Oh,
7
1,
blues in
2.
a row.
3, 4. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Keep going.
I got to turn pages here.
Keep going because we go all the way back to when we had
5,
very old Saint Nick on the show.
6, 7.
Oh, it's more than 7?
It's 7. It's 7 because before that we had a green and then a blue and then a blue and then a green. So out of the last 9,
We've had 7.
we have had 8 blues,
Out of the last 9, 8 blues. Wow.
7 in a row.
That is impressive.
That's
Okay.
gotta be a record.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is a record. So now we know where this rates. This is going to be a green on the Morse Whiskey rating code. Let's play What Would You Pay for the What Would You Pay championship belt presented by Box Drop. Renee, you get to go first.
I'm thinking 75.
75. The numismatist.
Since I'm not buying it, but I'm drinking it, I'm going to let Renee buy it for me. And I'll drink it when he buys it. But I think Renee should pay like $100.
Okay. We can make Renee pay extra. We can do that. All right, Caleb, what about you?
Huh. 68.99.
$68.99. The winner of the What Would You Pay championship belt chain presented by Box Drop. Renee, can you hold it up and shake that in front of everybody so everybody
Don't-
sees and knows what we're talking about?
Don't hurt yourself.
The winner is Caleb Morse because Caleb remembered what
I
the
did.
other
I
one was
did.
last week and didn't want to hit this one dead on the nose. So he went $1 under. This
Yep.
is $69.99 and absolutely worth every penny. Another tremendous whiskey. Try it if you have the opportunity to come to Lafayette, Louisiana, or anywhere around Scott, Maurice, Milton. Caleb's going to put on the What Would You Pay championship belt chain. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get a glass for Tug and for Walker, who is not Walker, aka Saunter. And we'll be back with more Implicit Bias Radio right after this.
Lowercase W.
Mm-mm. All right. Can you grab the case for me that had the glasses in it? Actually, there should just be 2 glasses in it. You can bring them in here and we'll pour for y'all.
What would you call someone who just pours whiskey?
My bitch. No.
Hey, we're still live.
Yeah, and I forgot we're live. So hey, there we go. Right. This is what happens on social media,
That
right?
was so good. If only my microphone worked.
Yeah.
You did that on purpose too, huh?
I set
He
him up.
probably did. Yeah,
I
he
set him up,
probably
yeah.
did. Caught me
Uh,
snoozing.
It was perfect. That
Won't happen often, but
I hope everyone who saw that, like, type in the comments, good job.
yeah, my
'cause
wife's mad at me now.
I set him.
You're gonna have to pour that over there, Tug, because I am.
It's the little things in life that make me
Hey.
happy.
It's not often you catch me snoozing, but I'm okay. You caught me snoozing.
Yep,
So, by the way, the one that I sent was just literally the quote from Oscar Wilde, which is when you tell people the truth, make them laugh. If not, they'll kill you.
Oh yeah.
That's all.
yeah.
That's all that was about. I didn't need
Really?
anything else. It was just that
Oh,
quote.
what's a great quote. The link was a little different.
Yeah, the link was very different. I didn't mean to go down the rabbit hole of the link.
But I mean, it's true. You have to have
Walker,
some
can you
levity
do me
with it.
one more favor, please? Can you grab my phone off of there, please, so I don't jack everything up? Because if I get out of this chair, I'm gonna jack up my headphones and the microphone and all that good stuff.
Oh, yep, they heard you.
Who's laughing about it?
My wife for one. Whiskey River don't run dry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Walker. Who is not Walker?
Is that like a common name for younger people now?
My wife must have seen it because I literally just got a quote or face from her. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My wife saw it.
She's proud of you right now.
Yeah, not so much.
You married him. You married him, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
All your choice. He didn't drug you.
That she knows of. No. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I think a great marriage is a very serious woman and a man who just doesn't know how to be serious.
Well,
So,
that is definitely me. And you can ask her. She's well aware of that.
you know, life's too short to be serious all the time. It comes in spurts.
I would agree with you 100%.
You know, we all know how we end up. Hopefully, we know where we go.
Well, that's the big question mark, isn't it?
I did more than just buy the afterlife insurance. Would anybody else like more whiskey?
I'm drinking the bourbon. I'm gonna try it last.
Well, they're both bourbons, aren't they?
Yeah, the other one is the straight. So this is
Yeah.
the other one's this is the cash strength. That one is foolproof.
Yeah, because it's a 117.
Yeah. And to me, that 117, like it is
It's
phenomenal.
really-
Oh, it is. It's incredible.
You wanna look at the tasting the whiskey journal and see if you agree with what was written?
no.
I get on
I'll
that
just
one,
drink it and enjoy it or not.
on that one. I got like that locally sourced honey. So that clove. the
It
spice
does.
on-
It does
I
have a
got it.
sweetness to
Yeah, I
it.
got a honey, like a deep, rich honey flavor on that one.
Honey,
is
I can
definitely-
see honey. I don't get the clove, but
Yeah,
I get the
well,
honey.
What's crazy is that one's younger. Now, not by much. It's 4 months younger, but that is younger than this one,
Really,
and it's so much more complex.
it is.
And it's got such distinct flavors. This one is done smooth. It's balanced. It has easy transitions, where the foolproof is just amazing.
Hmm.
This one's really good. That one to me is a
Yeah,
star.
this one.
Yeah.
The full Monty one is. I'm getting the honey off of it, but there again, I'm not getting the proof at 117.
Yeah,
Oh no,
I'm
not
getting
even
the proof.
close.
That one is scary.
Yeah,
I think it was my wife.
I could become drunkle on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was my wife the other day had an idea about like doing a game where we guess the proofs on different ones, which this I would lose with that one for sure. And then the other would be to guess into like blind taste testing, right? So to guess if this one was Jack Daniels would be easy, but a Jack Daniels product,
Well, yeah, because every Jack
all the
Daniels
others.
you've drank got
yeah,
banana run.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you something about these. Because of the higher proof, we're not catching that higher proof. Is that because it didn't age as long, or
No,
is it
It's the quality of the alcohol. It's
Yeah.
the way that it's aged in the barrel. There's all kinds of things that go into it,
okay?
but that's what it is.
I mean, is this now? Are these the first two that from this distillery y'all have drank
yes.
before?
Now not before.
no, I've had
but these
some
are the
from here
first two
before.
we've had for a while.
Yeah.
Now, are there other stuff as smooth as this?
No,
No.
Really?
these are exceptional.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
they-
I'm just curious because, like I said, I normally like 95, 100 or less proof, and these are drinking like 100 or less proofs
Yeah.
to me. I
Well,
mean,
and-
they're not.
and-
They don't have that burn. They don't have that bite to that I normally get in the higher proofs.
My wife making fun of me, by the way, saying
Very good.
so I don't know if Kelly's watching. Kelly might be watching. I don't have view to it, but if Kelly Broussard's watching, a good friend of ours, good friend of the show, he's been on the show before. I was messing with him about his wife being a saint, and my wife is now throwing that back at me. She's like, "I might be a saint too." Yeah, she actually is. My wife is absolutely a saint.
To put up with you, she must be.
She must be.
Or
That
she-
is no lie. Look, I said we are all fair game here, right? So we're gonna be honest about that.
See, I can talk all kinds of stuff because my wife doesn't even watch.
And I
Of course,
could say-
somebody will call her probably, and you know what
Now
your
they will.
husband said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now they
I
will.
could say all our wives drink, but yours just drink strawberry daiquiris.
Yes.
And
She's known for that at Mr.
Yeah, I
Lester.
mean,
Yes, she is.
being married to us, like oof, they
Yeah.
they earn their whiskey.
Yeah.
Speaking of earning their whiskey, Tug's got a pour.
Oh.
Walker, who is not Walker, thus he is Saunter, has a pour. Let's dive in. Let's get into segment 3 of this show. We're a little behind.
Sorry. Hey, keep
No,
me
no,
on
no.
track.
That's not on y'all. We were just sorting out technical challenges.
3, 2.
Welcome back to Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon, and let me tell you, we've got a great crew for you here in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast lair, the TSPL for the initiated, and we have sampled our first weekly whiskey of the show, which means that there's probably going to be a second weekly whiskey of the show. You want to stick around for that. Yeah, I know, Caleb, you're going to probably try and sample 5 or 6 weekly whiskeys because we've got a lot here at the TSPL.
We have a selection.
Hold on. It helps if we get your microphone up because Tug's over there drinking and not actually paying attention to the microphone.
This is why
Look.
I don't.
Tug drinks just like my children with 2 hands. I saw him. He did this.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? Tug's still doing a better job than Walker 1.0.
Oh, I don't know. Don't be shaming Walker over there. They both do a
Hey,
great
look.
job.
Look, Walker's watching.
Our viewers and listeners are initiated, and Walker is not. So,
Oh, this is true. Walker is still a pledge.
yes.
He absolutely is. And we now have another pledge who is also named Walker, which is really interesting when
That'll
we get to
get
it.
confusing after we had a couple of whiskeys.
Okay, so speaking of getting confusing after you've had a couple of whiskeys, this is a quote that I really wanted to explore on the show, and it really ties into the monologue. And to me, it is really resonant of where we are in the world in 2025. And it's this. Oscar Wilde once said, "If you want to tell people the truth, make them laugh. Otherwise, they'll kill you." And if you stop for 30 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes, and just ponder where we are today, and by today, I mean literally at any point in 2025, it's really true. Go ahead, Renee. You want to start there.
Yeah. I mean, so far this year, yeah, it's just been phenomenal how fast things are progressing.
And what's really crazy to me is people always say they want the truth. And this is the part of the deep thoughts of the quote. People say they want the truth.
Right.
But unfortunately, it really goes back to that old scene from A Few Good Men. You don't want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
And it's true, because when people start seeing things that they don't want to know, heads are exploding in 2025. Why? Because everybody's seeing the truth.
Well, that, and I think they now realize that they're going to be exposed for the shenanigans that they've been participating in. You know, that they're getting more upset with the guys exposing what's going on than what was going on.
Right. And in other words, they're getting upset. People are being upset, not with the people or not with the fraud.
Right.
They're being upset with the people exposing the fraud, which tells me everything about the people who are upset.
The millions and billions of dollars that have been shown has been wasted. They're not upset with that. They're upset with this guy wasn't elected. No, this guy was appointed by the guy that we elected to handle this, because the guy that we elected is busy doing other stuff.
And told us he was going to do this.
Exactly.
In other words, ergo, vis-a-vis, blase, we voted for this. Right, Caleb?
And that's what the truth is. The truth is you, whatever you is, in full display, right? Stripped of all the crap that we don on top of ourselves, and stripped of our armor and standing there naked and saying, "Look, this is me." And
That's not a pretty sight.
well.
I didn't want that image as we were recording this show. I did not want it. Why would you do that to me?
You could have thought about you.
You
Again,
can't-
I don't want that image either.
you can't
But that's-
unsee that.
No.
And that's what the truth is. It's whatever we use to cover and to hide things exposed, about ourselves, about others, about our government, about the state of the world, the state of the nation. And we have to sit down and take a look at ourselves and be like, oh, things are really screwed up. And there's so much that is wrong. And we haven't had anyone to sit there and say, hold on, this is the truth. This is the line we walk, and we need to adhere to standards. I mean, the fact that we have an individual who went in and said, look, they're not even categorizing expenses properly. How is that new?
Wait,
Well, we know it's going on forever.
stop. Wasn't our current president put on trial for not categorizing expenses properly that was categorized properly?
Look, so there and this, I think, Renee, is a great tie into what the truth really does to people. Because at the end of the day, when you see the truth and it's not what you thought it was, it can break your brain. What do I mean by that? What I mean is there are people who've been told their whole lives, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, regardless of what side you're on. People have been taught this, they have been trained this, they have been indoctrinated to believe these things. And now all of a sudden, facts, the truth, has sat on their face and wiggled. And they don't like the smell. They don't like the way that it leaves stuff behind and makes them go, oh, I can't not see this. I can't forget this. It breaks their brain. And some people literally will never see it.
No, well, because it's not their truth, which I don't understand that term. You know, how can you have your truth, his truth? No,
Can't.
what about the truth? It's
That's the-
there. It's you can't go against that. I mean, they're exposing this is what happened.
Well, there's only one metric to judge truth by, and that's why there's no such thing as your truth or my truth. It's the truth. And that's with everything in life. You know, and when you sit down and whenever some things and some knowing some things breaks you to the very foundation, and you have to be able to rebuild upon your foundation, your mental, spiritual, emotional, everything foundation, new and better whenever you're broken. And there are so many people now that refuse to acknowledge that they're broken and that there's a problem. Well, like I sat down and watched the oversight committee today, and people are losing their minds over the fact that someone's exposing what they've been hiding. And they knew they were hiding it. How do I know that? Because they were hiding it.
They were getting rich off of it.
And instead of saying, you caught me, my hand's in the cookie jar,
Wasn't
they're
me.
like, how dare you look?
It wasn't me.
So-
it wasn't me.
So here's where laughter comes in. This is why comedians are so effective. Think about George Carlin. We have quoted Carlin on this show ad nauseum, but Carlin was trying to tell us the truth 30 years ago. Famous Carlin quote: "It's one big club and you ain't in it." Right? They're keeping us sick. They're taking our money. They're taxing our taxes, which has already been taxed. And the money that we have paid for, things that we have bought, because it's already been taxed, they're taxing again. He told us these things. And he tried to make it funny, and people laughed at it. And the funny part was they weren't laughing thinking, oh, this is funny because it's silly. They were laughing because they knew it was true. But when they walked out, they still went, oh, but whatever.
It was just a joke.
Yeah.
Well,
There's truth in everything.
there again, it goes back to people that we elected to represent us that make less than 200,000 a year after a couple of terms are multimillionaires.
Well,
How does that
I want to
happen?
find out
That's-
what multiplication
the
symbol that
kickback.
is.
Well, that's the kickbacks
Well,
on all these programs and
and-
projects.
and this is how and why they can't take a joke.
Yeah.
Right?
that's why they're
because-
mad.
Because they are well, no, just think about it. Politicians for the last 2 decades can't take a joke. Why? Because if they joke about it and laugh and be like, "Oh, we're stealing your money," right? People are gonna go, "Oh, well." But if they say, "We're stealing your money and this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it," people go, "Oh, they didn't mean that."
Yeah,
They just let it go.
But look at the good they did with the little bit of money that
Yeah.
they stole
Yeah.
from us.
None of that.
Instead, they say we're reappropriating your funds and we're using it to educate Venezuelans on transgender surgery.
Somebody ring the bell. Somebody ring the
and
bell.
using that, and it sounds great when you
Oh,
say that.
And buying the condoms for Gaza.
Yeah.
And the-
Which didn't
but-
go to Gaza. It was not.
No.
It was not millions of dollars of condoms to Gaza. It was millions of dollars of condoms to some other country, like the country freaking
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
The country, wherever
Why-
we're sending this money, doesn't matter.
And
Right.
you
What we're
wanna know
sending it
what's-
there for, that's what matters.
You know
Right.
what should upset everyone too when you realize it?
I'm worried about this.
When we hear $50 million on condom education, that kind of stuff. That's the floor.
yeah.
So that's we give at least this
Well,
much for
okay,
that. Not how that's
so-
how much we gave.
So
We're gonna give at minimum
Well,
this
and-
dollar.
to coin a pun, that's the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
Oh.
that's bad.
Sorry. Yeah, ring the bell. That was funny.
Look, you know, all this money that we're sending to do all these other outlandish projects, we still have people in this country that are citizens of this country that are hungry. Why isn't that money going to our citizens first
Oh, look, that's
instead of going to other countries?
that's been a great question, and really, it's something that we have been on for a long time. Which is, if we've got all this money, and I'm not going to say that we don't need to spend some seed money in other countries, but the way they're spending, what they're spending, where they're spending, and look, this is the other side of this. I can guarantee you that of the billions that are sent overseas, a vast majority of it isn't going to what it's actually earmarked for. Now, you're probably like, well, then why are you upset about this? Because what it's earmarked for is to send it to some NGO that's actually using it at the behest of an intelligence agency, of someone else, of some State Department person who wants to try and bribe, coerce, kick back someone in a foreign government to do what we maybe think is right and create an upstart rebellion against somebody else. And then we go, oh no, look at what we created, like ISIS. And then you're like, oh no, what's going to happen? Right? Because we funded a lot of what ISIS has done. We funded a lot of what Al Qaeda has done.
We are very good at that.
We are really, so
Well, and it goes back way back to where does Osama bin Laden come from?
the CIA,
The Mujahideen.
yes, which we
Which-
were funding against the Russians in Afghanistan.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And that goes back to what, 95
All-
or before?
All I know is this. We got to start laughing about this a little bit more. Lewis hasn't said a thing. We're going to go back to the numismatist in a while because I just got given the finger. And no, not that finger, the 1 minute finger. But this time it's Aaron doing it, not Walker, but the first Walker, not the second Walker, who is not Walker, who is known as Saunter. No, we just got the 1 minute finger. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. More Implicit Bias Radio.
Hey, pass that other one over here.
Is it the Midas touch? Is that what you have over there? What? The finger?
You talking to me?
Yeah. Do you have the Midas touch? A microphone would help right now.
Yeah, it's not that soft.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
It's pretty.
Yeah, pretty solid. Oh, okay. I
You know
get
what
it.
mean?
I see
Yeah.
what you're doing there.
Yeah.
And I like how you went from vertical to horizontal, like you were poking now.
I actually had to think about it for a second because I almost gave it the wrong one. So,
Ah.
you know,
Well, the consistency is the key, right?
This other bottle, to me, even though it's higher proof, is a much better.
Oh, I
And
agree.
see that other one was I think a unanimous blue,
Yes.
and that is why, because it is done like whatever they
It's-
did,
I
whatever
find 'em
fairy
about the
juice they
same
put in that
strength.
thing.
I find them about, I mean, I don't.
We're behind.
Of course, it's
No,
your
no,
own
no.
thing,
That's
Yeah.
not on y'all.
I mean,
I think the
you're talking
Keebler elves
three-
made the other
that
one. There's a problem.
You're talking 3% difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't find any difference in strength.
yeah. The difference in strength in there, but the difference in flavor is just.
It's this one's
It's-
got
It's a little heavier,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's
It's deeper. It's deeper
silky,
caramel. It's
and
yeah. It's
everything.
I find more pepper and stuff.
You know, if you
into
speak,
what
if
we're
y'all
doing
speak into the
tonight
mic, the people
versus
can hear
last
you
week.
too.
it's more luscious, right? The higher proof, the 117, is more luscious. It's more velvety. It sits heavier on the palate. It's got a longer finish, which I love.
You know, I'm just thinking. I'm
I'm
like,
getting
luscious
more
is a
liquor
word that I
shot.
don't use often enough.
Luscious is a great word.
Yeah.
Yep. And to your point, it is underappreciated.
Lusciousness.
No, just luscious.
Oh,
As is voluptuous. That's another underappreciated word.
Voluptuous?
No, voluptuous. Voluptuous
Oh.
sounds like something some hip hop artist created
Yeah,
as a new
yeah.
song, right? No, we're not doing that.
Eh.
I can just hear
You-
it. Voluptuous.
You could be on the
Why
next.
does that sound like
you could do the next halftime. You could do the next halftime show on the,
He's the next Super Bowl.
Yeah, next Super Bowl. MC,
and not get paid.
MC Cool Whip.
Yeah.
MC. I like
Yep.
MC Cool Whip.
MC Cool Whip with my title track of my first release, which is Daddy Gonna Whip That. Yep. And my follow-up album, Don't Make Me.
Oh, this is gold right here. This is cinematic gold.
All right, so we're going to talk about the artificial
It's worth
intelligence.
the price of admission.
That's scary.
Hey, yes, this is absolutely worth every penny that our social media followers are paying to be here, which is nothing.
Oh, this AI thing, the one that you sent is
It's frightening.
it's heavy, man.
It's-
like it is.
Yeah, it's deep.
I don't think it's true.
I was concerned if it was or wasn't.
Here's
I guess we can wait. Talk
here's
about
the
Yeah.
scarier thing. I have seen other iterations of computers that lead me to believe this is. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the segment.
Yes. Yes.
Waiting on you. I mean, you doing your job, Tug? What are you doing over there? You too busy drinking?
Yeah.
Did we overserve you?
No, no.
He's down to
Not
half
yet.
of
Not
the
yet.
millimeter and a half he had.
Tug.
3, 2.
All right, Tug. This is Implicit Bias Radio. You now have your sample of whiskey. We're going to make you talk.
Let's do it.
So, what do you think of this Wilderness Trail Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey at 112 plus proof from New News Market?
I mean, I'm not much of a drinker, especially bourbon and whiskey. Can't really pull any flavors out of it, but I will tell you this. I normally am not the biggest fan of the burn.
Okay.
But this is quite pleasant.
Oh,
to
so
be
you like it
honest
to
with
hurt just a little.
It's not that bad. just a little bit. You know?
Look, I'm glad you like it.
When we're not on air.
Hold on, we'll get a
we're-
microphone up there.
When
you
we're
go.
not on air, I have a little bit of pain story to tell you about that you'll like.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we're going to have to wait till this live stream is over.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
for those out there listening on the radio, this is the lost episode of Implicit Bias Radio because this one is going to sit in the ether until its time is right. Much like a good whiskey sits in the barrel until its time is right. This one is going to marinate for a little while before it shows up. But if you are watching us or if you have access to our socials, you got it live on X, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Insta. We're out there and we are coming to you from the Mr. Lester's Top Secret Podcast lair somewhere in downtown Lafayette, Louisiana. So if you're just hearing this on the radio and you didn't catch this one live, go subscribe. Go find us anywhere you find podcast if you missed any part of this episode. Renee, you wanted to chime in. I saw you lean into the microphone.
I was just, the reason why it took so long to air this is because Tug had to edit a lot.
Not that much, really. The only thing he's going to have to edit so far is my one snafu when Caleb baited me and won during what will be a break for the rest of the show.
It'll be a break. It's only
Well, if we can get the
there.
microphone,
You,
right. There we
look,
go.
and look, I forgive you. This isn't what you normally do. You
Tug's
know,
doing yeoman's work.
Yeah,
He's got
and-
multiple things going on here.
and it's hard to juggle us, but that's not normally said during the air. It was during a break. It's okay.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, except for the fact that now my wife's mad at me. Anyway,
She's
if
not
you want to
mad.
catch it, go find us on Facebook and you'll trust me, it'll show up. You'll know why she's mad. Find it on X, you'll know why she's mad. Find it on Insta, find it on YouTube, you'll know why she's mad.
It's on X, not on triple X.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's not even X, but it's just not one of the 7 words that you're allegedly allowed to say on the radio, which to be quite honest, I've heard on the radio many times.
Oh, yeah. You can say that word on the radio.
Well,
you
just-
can.
the
They do it
context
all
that
the
I
time.
said it was a joke, and anyway, it was funny here. It was funny when it happened. But anyway, so let's get into our last topic, which I don't know if there's any way to laugh about this one. So we're gonna share this on our X because I've bookmarked it, and it's a really interesting rabbit hole with regards to where AI is processing. So when you think about artificial intelligence, one of the first classifications of artificial intelligence is machine learning.
The artificial part.
Correct. It's the artificial. It is machine learning and machine intelligence. But I'm going to call it a hypothesis, a theory. There's a report that scientists have gone past the machine part of it, which is they have found a way, and I'm going to give you the short of this, to replicate brain cells and integrate those brain cells and utilize those brain cells to process the artificial intelligence that's out there. In other words, potentially a cyborg where literally they've hooked it up to a robot and given it all of the sensory inputs from the robot, and these organic brain cells are processing it, learning, and continuing to do things. Now, the downside of this is it does not process as fast as the machines do right now. But it also processes with like 10% of the energy needed for the machine to process. There's a whole lot going on. There's ethical concerns here. There's a whole lot to discuss. But this is one where you go, are we going to get RoboCop?
Well, and what surprises me about this is, remember the old Universal Soldier with Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yes.
when he was like, how tall are you?
Oh, I'm 5'8" on a good day.
So a giant to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
But I mean, they took a soldier who had passed away and they rebuilt them in terms and reanimated them.
Same thing as RoboCop.
Yeah, they reanimated them and used them as a vital whatever. This, they did stem cell research and not necessarily cloned, but took neurological stem cells and rebuilt a brain out of it, plugged a computer up to it, and within, I think it was 15 repetitions, it learned how to play Pong.
Yes. It actually learned quicker. It took it fewer
repetitions
to learn how to play Pong as opposed to an actual machine AI computer.
And that shows because the human brain is really good at recognizing patterns. Machines have to be taught patterns. Humans recognize patterns. And then they go through and they did another one. The one that disturbed me the most was they designed a butterfly.
Oh, this is scary. Yes, I'm glad you went
They
here because I
designed
would
the
have forgotten it.
butterfly and gave the organism, I'll use an organism, but it was a computer,
The
organic,
CPU.
an organic
It's an organic
organic
central
computer.
processing unit.
And they gave it control over the butterfly, but it felt all sensations the butterfly felt and gave it control over it. So it would fly around this imaginary world as a butterfly.
So it created the Matrix, essentially.
And y'all,
That's what it did.
that is crazy.
You
Okay,
see,
Renee, go ahead.
I think that's just BS. I really don't believe that video. I mean, there's so much BS on the internet.
There is, and it's why we bring
I
it up for
don't-
discussion.
I don't believe in that video.
All right, so Lewis, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Renee, finish, and then
But-
we'll go to Lewis.
Instead of doing brains, if they can do that, if they have that capability, why aren't they replicating hearts and kidneys, which are the most transplanted organs in the world that people need on a regular basis?
Okay.
Instead of brains. I mean, we got a bunch of brainless people out there already that,
Well, I was about to say there's no doubt that this artificial intelligence is already smarter than about 3/4 of the U.S. population. I mean, it's just where we are, right? Lewis, I'm curious as to what you think.
I think it's a butcher bull.
Okay.
As far as the advancement where they're at right now, I think they're going to get there and surpass it. I think they're going to move on at a little at a time. This is kind of like the taste test when we drink our first sip of bourbon. I think it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm the guy that owned a computer. What was it? 64. The first-
Commodore?
Commodore
Commodore
64.
64.
And you see where we at now. This phone that's sitting on a desk right here greatly surpassed.
Couldn't use the Commodore 64. Can't use the phone either, right, Lewis?
Correct. Correct. I call this a block. But the bottom line is it's shocking what's going to be able to be done, and it's escalating faster and faster.
Okay.
And faster.
So I agree with you, but that's why I think this might be on the up and up, because we are escalating and advancing so quickly. What if I told you that there are already organic computers out there, computers that are functioning on crystalline structures, right? So literally crystals
And
where
that-
you've got the memory. So if you've got crystalline structures, if you've got organic plant-based computers that basically are chips that are grown out of organic material, why do we think this can't be real? That's my, and I'll tell you, Renee, why I agree with you on maybe they could grow hearts. They could do these things. A heart is actually generating muscle that responds to neurological impulse. We seem to have jumped past replication of muscle to straight replication of neurological impulse. That to me is what AI is. It is replication of impulse. And I mean, look, I don't know that this is real. I'd love to know if it is. It scares the heck out of me if it is real, because that means that somewhere they're taking this, they're letting it recognize creating a matrix, and they're putting it in that dog robot with an AR-15, no, full on M4 full auto platform, and they're training these things to hurt humans.
Well, I mean, that whole video, it just seems fake to me. I mean, that little dude seems like a dweeb to me. So I just,
Well,
I
it
just,
would
it
take a
just, the
dweeb
whole
to make
video,
something like that. You know,
the whole video. No, because I've known a lot of nerds. They were more manly than that. But anyways, that video just seemed fake. It just seems like a deep fake.
It very well could be.
I think. I
But
mean,
let's face it.
they could do hearts and kidneys.
But let's face
That's
it.
where they need to go.
Let's face it. The guy who's changing the world is not the guy who ends his science report with San Dimas high school football rules. That is not the guy who's going to change the world with technology.
well, and look, my thought would be to use cadavers, right, first and foremost, because
Start there.
it's already there.
Yeah, but then you've got to, instead of create from the get-go with stem cells,
they have to
you have to
deconstruct.
reanimate
Yeah.
at that point.
And it could be false, but I think the same likelihood that it could be false, it could be real. Either way, this is something that we should be concerned about. Either way.
Tug, what the heck was that?
Did you make a paper airplane?
Did he make no, I think he tried to put a piece of paper somewhere and the fan caught it.
I'm
and-
so glad somebody saw that.
No, I saw it at the
I'm-
corner of my
I'm
eye.
hoping that everyone caught that. Like, I'm hoping we caught that on video, because that was something that has never happened in the TSPL. We've never had anything that, I'm trying to think of it, that spastic happen in the TSPL.
It's poltergeist.
A ghost in
be.
the machine.
Could be. Yeah, look, there's all kinds of places we could go. But look, the whole AI discussion, this is what really scares me. Because I'm gonna take this a step farther. There are people who believe that we actually currently live in the Matrix, as when you think about the movie,
Mm.
that we are just electric impulses plugged into a greater computer system that is experiencing our own simulation, and that the computer system is telling us what we feel, what we taste, what we smell, what we touch, right? If this is real, it's a big if, but if this is real, it's almost proof that the system can exist. The only reason it's not proof is that they are yet to interconnect two of them in the same simulation.
And have
So-
them interact.
Yep.
So what that means is this whiskey that we're having isn't real.
But
Nothing's real.
But it-
Nothing's real.
it tastes good. It is enjoyable.
No, it doesn't.
and the
no,
impulses
no. The impulses are being put in your brain to do that. It's not
could
real.
be. Very well could be. I mean, Renee, how do you know? That's the question.
You've watched too many movies.
At the end of the day, here's the thing. At the end of the day, we don't really know.
Be happy.
Exactly. Laugh about it. Because for all we know, none of this matters. For all we know, the weekly whiskeys that we're tasting were made up in a computer simulation somewhere, and we are just tasting and people are thriving on it.
Is that why everything has a hint of caramel?
Yeah.
Just like everything tastes like
Caramel.
chicken?
Because
Hint of caramel.
because the computer didn't know what bourbon actually tasted like, so it used
Yes.
caramel as a flavor base in the brain for the chemical reaction to drop hints of all of that and all of these, and I don't
No,
know.
They just put that taste in your brain right off the bat. It doesn't care if it's caramel,
But-
whatever, vanilla, licorice.
Renee,
they
Renee,
just put it.
when's the last time you saw The Matrix?
It's been a few years.
Well, okay, so that is actually the theory of why chicken tastes
Yeah.
like chicken, because it couldn't identify what chicken should taste like, so it makes everything taste like chicken, therefore chicken tastes like everything. That's, I mean, look, I know it's circular logic. Was that the finger?
It was.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah,
This is hour one?
yeah.
Dang
it, Tug.
Sorry, man.
All right. So for those of us watching out there on social media, those who are watching us on social media, thank you. Stick around. Hour two is always more fun. If you're listening on the radio and you only get hour one in your radio market, number one, find us on our socials: X, YouTube, Insta, Facebook. We're there. Find us anywhere you find your podcast, which we're also there for download, and call your radio station. Tell them. I want to have more fun. I want hour 2 of Implicit Bias Radio. We'll be right back.
Renee, can you pass me that grain to glass, please? The only one that's open.
Oh, the rye.
The rye.
You don't want to do the other ones?
This one's already open and it's so good. Brought to you
'Cause
by
it's
Heaven Hill
rye.
Grain to Glass Rye. This is like, look, this wild wilderness trail is great, and the other one, the one y'all drinking, is phenomenal. Can you turn my mic on by chance? Doug?
All right, Tug. This is
Thank
just
you.
to learn
And,
how
and,
to.
and those wilderness trails are phenomenal, but this grain to glass rye at
That's just
100,
because it's rye.
it's 123 proof.
It's rye. Anything with rye you like.
Lewis, you need to try this.
Yeah, you do, Lewis.
I'll give it a shot.
Hopefully, you give it more than one shot. A shot's only an ounce. This is
You only need to drink an ounce at a
I
time.
don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if I need a ride home tonight. Though. That's the problem.
yeah, valid.
You know,
I still can't get over the fact that Chef is selling this for $5 a pour. Like it's outrageous. Good for him, you know.
This one is
Organic
good too.
supercomputers.
The regular bourbon is good too. I don't know what the proof is on it.
I mean, to fathom that, that's even something that we talk about now, right?
What's the
What is?
so what's the-
organic supercomputers? What was the?
Oh yeah,
What was the first computer? The
Deep Blue.
No, the something artifact. A
Oh.
Roman set of gears. They kept
Oh, the Antithekira mechanism.
the Antithera. Yes. So like when you look back at that, that was a very crude, basic mechanism.
Yep.
And we don't really know what it did, but it was a series of gears that was
Then
part.
how
of,
do you know it was a computer?
Well, it was part of something bigger. A computer is something that computes. So it's a basic computer. And when we look at where we are now, where the cameras in this room are computers. Everything that's around us has a memory chip, has
your phone is more of a computer
Oh.
than Apollo program had.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
The acceleration.
the speed, the solid state drives now. And when you look at when we talk about RAM and everything else, how fast things are now. But yet in our infancy, the current organic computers that we have are slower.
I
And when
like-
you look at your brain now, at the speed at which it
My-
computes.
My first computer, when I first opened 40 years ago, ran at 1.75. No, 3.75 hertz.
Yeah.
The industry standard was 4 hertz.
Oh, look, I remember when a
And-
buddy of mine in college had the latest and greatest, and it was a Gateway 386 megahertz.
Oh, dude, this was an 8088 that
Yeah.
I had. It just, yeah.
Renee, don't lie. The first computer you had consisted of a chisel and a big piece of stone.
Yeah.
No, no, that was my first writing implement.
Oh, okay.
You know, that wasn't a computer. That was writing implements. That's how we wrote.
All right.
You know.
The grain to glass.
Yeah, see, now you're thinking about opening another one.
Please
I'll open the bourbon.
send
That's
me
the weeded.
The weeded
That's
actually-
send me the
bourbon.
weeded.
Yeah, the
please.
weeded
You
was
want the
something I
weeded?
remember
Yep.
right. It wasn't bad.
Here, pass.
No, I like the weeded.
Well, and the weed is something like normally they're too yielding, too soft, but this one it was pretty good. If I'm
It'll
I'm
kick you
gonna,
in the
I'm
teeth.
gonna try to. I'm gonna do the bourbon because I like that one. I've
Ooh,
my
at
two favorite.
121 proof too.
My two favorite was the bourbon and the rye because those were the pours. What 6 months ago?
Probably.
About at Mr.
Probably.
Lester's because I remember going
They
over
were
there. and
astounding.
Oh, this is going to annoy me because I can't get my thumbnail.
Use
in
your
anything.
teeth.
You can't.
No.
A little teeth won't. kill you,
$5 a
Kevon.
glass at Lester's. I really don't know.
What happened?
No, I don't know.
I
Hey,
was
come
worried
on.
about where that was
I
going.
knew.
Come on,
when
is
Doug
this,
saw that.
is,
I got
this
stared
stuff
at him
is
while I
not
said it.
unobtainium, is it?
It's okay. So some
It's
of
hard to get.
it's hard to get, but not unobtainium. But it's hard to find. And I will say this: if you find it,
You'll never see all three.
number one, you'll never see all three. Number two, you are going to pay way more than what you're going to buy this for at Mr. Lester's,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, just
What's
absolutely
the flight
nuts.
go for?
It's
The flight is 15,
$15 a flight. $5 a pour.
$5 a
15 flight.
pour.
Oh, so $5 a pour, 15 for the flight, which is the same price. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
you can't.
still.
They can't really sell it less than $5 when you look at
Right.
it, because realistically, that's about was it $45 a bottle?
This is a, oh no, 26 pours to a bottle. So that would
100 and
be
some-
what,
yeah.
150 bucks?
Yeah.
Right. Or $130. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But no,
Which is less than you'll pay in the secondary market.
for this, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
I think it's about 125, 150.
But here's no, they're about 100 a bottle retail. And when you can, I mean, like I said, you can't find all three, but here's kind of the whole point,
Let's leave
which
it right
is number one, you're not going to find these at $5 a pour, 15 for the flight.
here. No.
No.
You're not.
I
Number
mean, there's no
two-
bar that does a
Well, that's-
$5 pour.
Nope.
And
for a
that's the
whiskey.
beauty of Mr. Lester's is they're doing this because they want people to be able to taste bourbons they can't find everywhere. Right.
No, they're doing this because they're very nice people
They are.
and they
so
want to take care of people.
it's wonderful because when you look at like other restaurants you go to and everything else, if you pay less than 15 a pour, it's a bargain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No matter
here's,
what you're drinking.
the
here's what
labor
I'm
will
gonna
kill
tell
you
you.
on that.
and look, this is not going out on air, which I love. So it's
Well, we're
only the
live,
people
too.
I know.
Okay.
It's only the people who are on live who are going to see this. I am aware of a couple of bottles that Chef has. Now, the question isn't, he doesn't have as much as he thought, Caleb. He
so
thought he had a case of each. He does not have a case of each right now. And he hasn't even put it out. But he's agreed to put some stuff that people chase. People chase all the time. Be a little more loud, Renee. Thanks. He is going to put something that people chase behind the bar. One might soar like an eagle. The other might run like a racehorse. Who knows?
Mm,
And you never know when they show up, number one. And when they do, they're going to show up for somewhere like 10 and 12 a pour,
and that's
which
The-
again,
It just comes down to you need to go to Mr. Lester's because you never know what you're going to find. And those people always take care of you.
ring the bell.
well, and call and make your reservation.
And I am, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
because that's where I struggle. Is like I tried to make a Valentine's Day reservation.
yeah. Oh, good luck.
No, this was
You should
this
have done that.
No,
6
this
months
was
ago.
I should have done it 6 months ago. I tried to do it like a month ago, and I called, left a voicemail, right? Because I called before they were open. I got a call back before they were open.
And the callback
they
was.
No, the woman called me back. She left me a voicemail, and she's like, "Sir, look, there's only a few spots left. Please call me back," because I was busy. And I called her back within 30 minutes, and they were sold out.
Yeah.
But the fact that she called me outside of business hours
Right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
is huge.
Look, those people over there, they go out of their way to take care of you.
And look,
They
y'all
really
know,
do.
y'all know I'm a steak fiend. I love steak.
I've seen
Oh,
you
yeah.
chase
y'all,
meat.
y'all know. Ring the bell. that
Tug
was well
missed that
played.
one too.
Yeah, Tug missed that one.
Uh,
The reality is y'all know that I love steak, and I have been after cooking the perfect steak at my home for a long time.
well, you
I
had
mean,
that
to the point-
salamander and
To
everything.
the point, to the point that Mrs. Implicit Bias bought him a special grill
She did,
Yes.
to cook Wagyu steaks with.
which is why I made the reservation, and she knows, so I can say this. I made the reservation for Mr. Lester's 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
3
And-
months in advance.
And you know people, and you
I
had
still
to
I
made
make
should
it
have
3 months in
do
advance.
that. I
Yep.
should.
Yep.
Yeah.
And look, I'm also not the one who's going to call and be like, "Hey, I know
Yeah.
you take care of me." I'm
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I was like, "Look, if you have the reservation, can I please have it? If you don't squeeze me in.
Well, I
Treat,
think that's what
we are everybody else."
I'm going
that's
to
what the that's what the
I'm going to
listeners need to
Mabel's
know
kitchen.
too. Is like we don't ask for special treatment. We don't ask for certain things. Like we're
No.
not going in there like Frank Sinatra.
No.
And I would like to look like Blue Eyes, but
Oh, I'd
know,
kill to look like that dude.
we don't go
Well, when he
in
was
and
younger, not when he was old and fat like I am now.
you know, and they just do a great job. I'm
They-
so happy. With
They do.
them. I
All
really
right, we ready for hour 2? Tug, are you going to keep us on track here? I mean,
Yeah,
I
man.
know.
You
Okay,
want some more
so
whiskey, Tug?
so
We're
for
actually
those
doing pretty good on time.
for those who are out there and getting to watch this show live, this is the first time you've seen Aaron David.
Is it?
It's one of the first. Yeah,
No,
because
they've
we
seen him at Mr.
No.
Lester's.
Yeah,
Well,
Mr. Lester's would say. him.
yeah, but it's
yeah,
that
but
it's that
he's not
high
on
angle.
camera.
Yeah, he hadn't been on camera. He's been
Oh.
heard. He hasn't been seen. So I'm curious, how is the juggling of things going over there? Because for those who want to know, if you're watching us on social media, this has been a test run because we're gonna be live next week, and we're gonna be at Mr. Lester's.
and dressed nicely.
Yeah, we are. We're doing it again.
Oh, I gotta get my.
We're doing it again.
I did mine. Y'all
I,
saw
I,
a picture.
yeah. Well, you and I are gonna match, by the way.
Yeah, I heard that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to sit across from each other.
They're gonna be-
I
They're
I
gonna be
saw it.
twins.
We can't sit by each other.
I saw it and I was like, that's the choice I have to make.
They're gonna be twins like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito were twins.
Yeah.
They're gonna be twins.
Yeah. Oh, so you
All
Call
right.
me Danny.
You said, oh, I was gonna say
Yeah.
you. So I'm Danny now.
All right, let's do hour 2.
3, 2.
Hour 2 is always more fun on Implicit Bias. I'm your host, Kavan Bordelon. This is Implicit Bias Radio, and this is the lost episode. So if you are watching, because we are actually streaming this episode live on our socials, X, Insta, Facebook, YouTube, yeah, you're getting this now in the moment. But this episode is going to be put in the vault. We're going to pour it into the barrel of marination. Let's make up a new word of marination. We're going to put it in the barrel of marination. Yeah, I don't like that. Anyway, yeah, and it looks anyway. So we're going to put this one in the vault, in the barrel. We're going to let it age. And when it's time for this episode to come out, it's going to come out. But right now, the only place you're going to find this is right here. We're not even going to put this on podcast immediately. We're going to hold this one and release it on podcast when it's time.
Did we ever play the one that we did with it was a bourbon called Chicken Cock?
That would be a no.
Okay.
You can look at my face and you can understand why.
It probably was pretty bad.
So you're doing like Ernest and Julio Gallo. We shall release no video
Before it's time. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
this
God,
one-
my
this one
goodness.
could
Some
be a good
people will know that reference, and everyone
old.
else who would know that reference is dead.
Yeah.
So
No, because I know it. I'm not dead. Lewis knows it. He's not dead. We're
Does
just
Lewis know
old,
it?
man. We're just old.
all right. So that is At the Bar here in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast lair. Renee Girard, Louisiana's only certified master tobacconist, one of only 15 on the planet. And that is not a joke. We're going to talk cigars in just a minute. He is sitting next to the numismatist, who we're going to dive into his knowledge a little bit later on this episode, because we are going to talk about gold. And I don't mean like Texas tea, like, you know, like the Beverly Hillbillies, black gold, Texas. No, I mean like the real gold stuff, because that stuff, who knows what's going to happen with that. We hope that Lewis does and can actually tell us, you know, maybe what should happen. And then, of course, there's the Rustic Renegade. He's sitting in the chair, much like mine, here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. And at the board, we have Tug, Aaron David, who actually keeps us now. Normally, it's just on video. For this episode, he's got us on video. He's got us on audio. He's got Walker's other brother, Walker, who is not Walker, who is known as Saunter. He is the other Implicit Bias intern, apparently, now. His name is also Walker, but he's not the Walker you know. He's a different Walker, so we call him Saunter. I know, it's confusing. It's okay. It's going to be all right. Let's dive into and start with our next weekly whiskey, which is what's available at Mr. Lester Steakhouse, which means we have 3 offerings. One here at the table, and Tug, you tell me, do I need to bring it closer to the glass? Are we good now? Is it in the picture? Yeah, okay.
It's in ready, but that looks better.
So it is the Heaven Hill Grain to Glass series. And what's beautiful about this, yeah, Mr. Lester's has had it, but the good news is they got more. And the good news is they are making this available for $5 a pour. I know, it's just ridiculous. $5 a pour, 15 for the flight of 3, which is all of the Grain to Glass series, which is a rye, which is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and which is also a wheated whiskey. And the wheated is at 121 proof, and it is freaking tastic. Caleb, which one are you tasting, and what do you think about yours?
I'm drinking the rye. This one is,
Shocker.
I think, 123 and some change. And look, I'm not a weeded guy. The only other one, like the other one's good. The weeded one is phenomenal too. But this
Yeah.
rye is it's like I could drink this and write the next Peter Pan. It's the stuff dreams are made of.
You'd fly too if some. Anyway. All right, let's go to the bar. Somebody will get that joke. Look that up if you don't get it. It's funny. We just can't completely say it on the air. We could, but oh well. All right, let's go to the bar. Renee, what do you think about what you got?
I'm drinking the bourbon at a 107. Perfect. right up my wheelhouse. I like this one.
So bourbony McBourbon for you. I mean, it seems to be that.
It's just a great strength for me. The flavors are there for me. And at $5 a pour, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could burn $100 on this one.
Oh, Drunkle's here, but I would hate to see that Drunkle.
Not here. It'll be there.
No, Drunkle's already here. He'll be there too, I'm sure. All right, Lewis. I don't know what you're sampling over there now, Lewis. What do you have in the glass?
I'm drinking the rye,
Yes.
which I'm going to tell you this.
You're not normally a rye drinker, Lewis.
I hate it normally as far as the heat, the intensity, but I'm going to be honest. I'm shocked about this one.
Oh, so wait. Are
it
we getting him to, is he going to show up?
It is very, very good.
Is it hot in the hot tub?
It
Hot
surprisingly for the amount of proof,
because it's hot and it's wet.
it's
in the
well,
hot tub.
now,
Yeah.
don't be talking like that to me.
Oh, come on. Everybody remembers Eddie Murphy doing James Brown, the James Brown celebrity hot tub, right? I mean, that's what that's from.
Yeah. You know who that voice reminds me of?
I don't want to know, Lewis. I
It-
genuinely
it-
don't.
It's a priest that was here last week or the week.
Father
before.
Glaude?
Father Glaude. He
found a joke.
no, Father
Yeah.
Glaude, Father Glaude. And let me tell you, he can do a great impression of you, and you can do a great impression of him.
Here's the funny part. The best impression that Father Glaude does, and we have to get him back. We have to have him do it.
Oh.
Renee, what is it? Because you know where I'm going.
Vincent Price at the end of the Thriller. He can do the whole monologue at
Yep.
the end of the Thriller.
Knows it by heart. And when I tell you,
just like him.
yeah,
For real?
it's oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like for
He
real.
did
for
it.
You don't
He-
remember when he did it on the show?
He did it for I think it.
Oh no,
Okay,
it was years
next
ago.
time he comes in the
it
shop,
wasn't-
I'll ask
It
him.
wasn't a Halloween episode.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yep, it was. Or
I-
it was leading up to Halloween, right around
because
then.
we were at the old TSPL.
Yes, we were.
when he did it.
Yes, we
yes, I was there.
were. Okay,
that's
so
probably when we were an hour 2.5 on that one, probably. So
we might have
Yeah.
been. Okay, so yeah, I am all in on these weekly whiskeys. These go absolutely fantastic with. I mean, you can have this neat. You can have this with a steak. I like great whiskeys in cocktails. These are approaching the just don't do it because they're that good.
yeah,
I mean,
I couldn't imagine this mixed.
No,
when I go to Mr. Lester's, what I like to do is before our reservation, I like to go sit in a cigar lounge, and I'll have a bourbon, and I'll look for one of the ones we've done. With this, oh, I'm definitely doing this.
so Renee, what cigar would you put with these?
Oh,
What's
The-
the? I mean, we can go
right-
cigar with this. I mean,
right
tell me
now-
what
oh,
fits.
Yeah, in fact, the Perdomo 30-year.
Oh,
They make 3 different wrappers. They do
Okay.
a Connecticut shade, they do a sun grown, and they do a Maduro. The Maduro's got a slight sweetness to it, and that's just with the natural fermentation of the wrappers. But those tobaccos are aged 15 years.
Then why are they 30 years? Why are they called
Because-
Perdomo 30s? I'm just curious. I'm
because it's Perdomo's 30th anniversary
Okay.
of existence
okay.
as a cigar maker. They came out a year ago. This is year 31 for them, but they're still the 30th. They're coming out with a new series in May
Okay.
that eventually we will get. But the 30-year is, we're the only one in the state of Louisiana that can carry that cigar because they don't make enough of them.
So
and,
how?
and I've had them.
So
Yeah,
how
it's a
and
great
why?
cigar.
And Caleb, you can chime in on this conversation. How and why would that go well with these whiskeys? What makes it
Just-
pair so perfectly?
Well, they're not a strong cigar. It's a good medium-bodied cigar with these whiskeys because they're not going to blow the top of your head off, but they're not weak. I mean, the proofs are 100 to 100, 107 to 130.
Okay.
or what I don't know what you.
This is
want.
one. This is
123.
121.
Okay, so 121. So it's not super hot whiskeys, and the sun grown probably because the sun grown wrapper has a tendency of having a little bit more flavor. You don't want a whiskey to overpower your cigar, but you don't want your cigar to overpower the whiskey either. So you need something to balance. I think the sun growns would go great with that, with the weeded. The rye I know is a little hotter. Sun grown with that, but with this bourbon, I would do either the Maduro or the Connecticut shade. Connecticut shade might be a little light. Maduro would go great with this.
I think
bourbon.
You recommended the Maduros last. I think I bought some.
Yeah,
last time I was in
you were
shop.
there a week or so
Yeah,
ago.
and I smoked a Maduro last night, and it's balanced enough. I think this rye would go really well. It wouldn't overpower it. It would complement it very well because this
Yeah.
rye has a little sweetness to it.
Next
a
time,
little
try the
spice.
sun grown. I think the sun grown would go great with that weeded.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I've got to go back to this weeded because obviously I've got the neck pour. Literally, I'm the only pour out of this.
Well, for now, I'm almost done.
Yeah,
No, what I'm gonna say
that's
is,
next.
as this has opened up, it went from outstanding, definite blue, to almost candy, alcohol,
Did it?
or candied alcohol with caramel and vanilla. I mean, it's the caramel bomb that you hear people talk
It
about.
It went plaid.
It did. It went straight plaid. And this I will laugh about. This is one of those bottles that you open with only very special people in your life. Right? When you go to Mr. Lester's, you go with special people, you drink with special people. This is one of those bottles that fits perfectly because you should only enjoy this with someone who is special to you. Because if you open this with people that you don't care about, it's wasted.
Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a power move.
But then you have to care, Caleb. Then you have to care.
You have to care about crushing their dreams.
I want to crush your soul. No, it's not that.
Okay.
But this, I mean, the more I sip off of this, the more balanced it becomes. The more at 121 proof, it drinks closer to 85. The more, and you know it's not, but it's just so smooth. It's so long on the palate. It is so beautiful with all of the different notes that it's got. You do not want to miss this, and I'll nudge it over to you so you can taste some more. If you go to Mr. Lester's at $5 a pour, don't miss this.
Now, Kavan, he's running that the month of February.
So he's running it as long as he's got it,
Oh, until he runs out.
until he runs out.
Because I know one of the times we went there, I went to order some of that.
It was already gone.
It was gone.
Well, that might have been the night that we had a good bit.
Yeah. It was
Well,
all-
when the implicit
it was
bias
all- it was all
crew
Caleb's
shows
fault.
up for an event, let's just
It was
say that it has
Caleb's
the
fault.
opportunity to, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, to work through some of the inventory.
We don't pace ourselves very well.
You are correct,
So
especially Drunkle.
Wait, why are you pointing me out? That's the guy that drinks all of it.
Because
well.
because that's the truth, Renee. Ring the bell, Renee, because yes,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Caleb has no
Let's try this. weed.
restraint. Restraint is not a word, I think, Caleb, that factored into your vocabulary. For
I live
a very
life
long
to the
time.
fullest, and this weed it is.
Did I tell you? Did I not tell you?
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, so we've got great weekly whiskeys, which means I've got to make sure that some of this is in deep blue, the implicit bias infinity bottle.
Well, how about I just pour my glass in there and take the bottle home?
How about no? How about no? Because we know that, I mean, I'll be honest, when I showed up after the episode that you ran, Caleb,
Mhm.
and there was nothing left in the bottle.
Okay, I apologize.
No, you don't.
I
No,
meant
I
to
was-
save you some. I did.
I was
It
here
was-
for that episode. It all went in a bottle. We poured it all.
It
What
wasn't- it
was
wasn't a
left in
ton.
the infinity
It
bottle.
wasn't a ton.
In the infinity bottle.
In the
Yeah,
infinity
it wasn't a
bottle.
ton like that. I don't moderate as well as I could, I guess.
In
Hey,
lots of ways. That's
did-
okay. That's
Did-
okay.
Did you get some of that?
No.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Come to the shop.
So if it makes you feel any better,
It
Yeah.
was so impressive that we made the comment. Grant went and got us each
Yeah.
a bottle.
and
He did a
and you
great
know,
job.
he also
Did you-
he texted me while he was there. He took care of me. So there's one sitting at the house.
Well, see,
I'm
why you busting on him?
Renee's like getting all of a sudden he's getting all inner
Yeah,
city.
look.
Why you bussin'?
Why
Right?
you
I'm like,
busting
Renee,
on
what-
him? Well, I was gonna say something else, but we're
No,
on the air,
no.
so I couldn't. say
He's
that.
valid though. He has a valid point because
I'm just talking about what happened on the show. That I'm
We-
not worried about the
we-
bottle being gone.
we
I mean,
cleared a bottle out. And
Yeah.
normally, whenever
don't.
whenever you're not here, the few times that I get to run the show, we get a little more raucous than normal.
yeah, I'm aware, which is why I'm here more often than not. Speaking of being
it's a
here
fun
more
time.
often than not, we are going to come back. We've got problems of the world that needs to solve it. We've got more weekly whiskeys because there's 3 up there, and we've got stuff on the bar. We've got all kinds of great stuff here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. We've got more of the stories that you're probably not hearing everywhere. And we are going to get a little esoteric in hour 2 because we've got discussions around red lasers, around red night vision. We've got discussions around, the Kandahar giant, the Tomb of Gilgamesh. I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff. And we've also got maybe the biggest discussion, which is around gold and what could happen with that on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio.
This weeded. Push my little button, Tug. Oh, sorry. This weeded is surprising because weeded bourbons are always soft, they're yielding,
Yeah,
they're
you don't
forgiving,
like those.
and it's soft, it's supple, it's gentle, but it is flavorful and aggressive at the same time. This weeded is try it.
Hour 2 is
Try it.
Sounds
always
like
more.
next week we're getting a flight.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Now,
is really
I
interesting.
prefer the rye, I do, but this is unlike
Bruh.
the weededs I've had before.
I'm bringing us a cigar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so Renee.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, you're not gonna smoke your cigar.
No,
because-
no, actually, I'm going to be at Mr. Lester's tomorrow night.
Oh,
So I am going to do everything I
tomorrow's
can to
Valentine's
get to
Day.
the store to get a Padermo 30 and buy it
Alright.
from you so I can smoke a cigar before Elizabeth and I have dinner. Hour 2 is always
And
more fun.
that-
and we've also
that
got
will be
the
my
biggest
tribute
discussion, which is around to you on a special occasion to say thank you that I will actually
on this
partake
week's
because
episode.
you know I'm not a huge cigar guy,
no, you know.
right? It's just the way it is. So,
But next Wednesday.
oh no, I
Yeah,
know
it's
next
all like
Wednesday it's
Donkey
on.
Kong. I'm bringing some sun-grown 30ths, bro. We're gonna do a
I
Okay.
want. Yeah, I should try.
after
one
the
of some
show.
of those.
We're gonna do a
Yeah.
flight and a cigar.
Yeah, I mean the Maduro it's wonderful.
Oh, it's sweet, but
okay
I'm
with the
telling you
stream?
that sun
Everything good with the stream? And
Well,
you're on
hey,
wireless.
I need to
Wireless.
bring
Which is
you
crazy.
the
I know,
ones that
we're
I
doing
talked
good,
to you
man. We got
about and let you
17 people
try.
Oh yeah.
Because I
That's
have
it?
I bought like
That's
3 or 4 just
Yo,
for you to
There's
try.
only 17 of y'all watching. Go get friends.
Oh,
I think they're sleeping.
you got?
too.
Did you get?
You
that
think they're
picture of that
sleeping?
Humidor?
How can
Yes,
you
I
watch
did.
this and
Brad,
sleep?
it's
They're probably
Brad.
drunk.
Brad,
Oh, really?
He's got it. It's too big on his counter. He
Okay,
wants to get
yeah.
rid of it.
Yeah, I got to sit down and get
And
all it
look
lined
at
up, and then we'll be good to go. Because I can use it once we have it done and the
Yeah.
licensing done. I'll use it.
All right.
Yeah, because all you
So-
need is a retail permit.
Yeah,
It's
Shall we,
25
fellas?
bucks.
What's that?
Shall we?
Shall we? We shall. We shall.
Are your ears crooked or is it just the headphones?
It's a little of both. Thanks for
He
noticing.
played too much football when he
Is
was
that
out
is
there.
that his new nickname, Sloth?
Hey,
Hey, you guys. Yeah, that's Caleb, you beat me to it.
All right, fellas. 3, 2.
Implicit Bias Radio is back on the air. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. This is hour 2 of the lost episode of Implicit Bias. What do I mean by that? I mean, we recorded it, we kept it, we held it, we aged it, and then we released it just when the timing was right. Now, that might just be that we had a week off and we couldn't make it to record another episode. Who knows why, but this is when it got released, and you hopefully are the beneficiary. We're also streaming this live. So if you are listening to this on radio and you would like to have heard this episode weeks, maybe months in advance, who knows? Go find us on our socials. Find us on X, find us on YouTube, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram. Smash the like button, please. Click the follow button. It helps the show, helps you get more of your implicit bias. And oh, by the way, you don't miss things. Like we actually gave away dinner for 2 at Mr. Lester's about a week ago, but you had to be on our socials to get there, right? So please do. Let me tell you the crew that we have here for you in the Top Secret Podcast Layer presented by Mr. Lester's. We're somewhere in downtown Lafayette, and we have for you this week, we're going to make him wave. We're also going to make Walker, who is not Walker, who is known as Saunter, wave. Aaron David, a.k.a. Tug, who keeps us looking as good as he possibly can. That is Aaron David. Aaron, what you think, man? You've had a weekly whiskey. You got some water. You enjoying this now?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You sure about that? Because I know you were a little stressed before we got this actually on the live
We
stream.
kind of got everything figured out now, so we're good.
Outstanding. We got Walker back there who is mute, so don't worry about it. He can't say anything. I'm kidding. He's not, but we're just not going to let him talk. Well, maybe later because we just got to get it set up. It's all technical stuff. At the bar, yeah, what, Renee?
The first walker took forever to get on camera. The new walker,
First show.
first show.
Great call
But
out.
but he doesn't have a mic.
No,
so
he
we
does not
we
have a
don't
mic.
have to listen to him.
Correct. Yeah. Well, and you don't look, this is the one thing about our show that we love. Walker, who is not Walker, who is now known as Saunter, may or may not agree with us. We don't care. And we like him either way. Not look, he may be listening over there going, these guys have lost their freaking minds. And he's probably not wrong. And it's okay if he doesn't agree. It's great if he does. If he doesn't, we want to hear it. And we'll still be friends when it's over. We'll just go grab another whiskey.
Saunter doesn't even have a pledge pimp.
No,
So
he doesn't.
He
have a-
doesn't even rate that.
he might be an associate at this point, right? He might be a prospect for all we know. The other person at the bar is Louis Pizzolatto of Coin and Treasure. He is the numismatist who's into coins and all that stuff, which I actually love because on the Curse of We Ain't Found, otherwise known as the Curse of Oak Island, they have a numismatist on the show. And I was like, we know what that is. We had a numismatist before they had a numismatist. Copycat SOBs. Anyway, the other person here on the show is Caleb Morse, the Rustic Renegade, sitting in the chair much like mine. And I want to dive into this topic because this is one of those that I don't want to try and predict the future at all. What I'm going to tell you is there are some tea leaves out there that I think we're going to try to read.
Wait, I thought your nickname was like Nostra Cavanas.
That is not my nickname. If that is the nickname that I am given by the show, why not? He was right probably what, 5% of the time, which would be
That's all it takes.
yeah, that's it. If you're right 5% of the time predicting the future, you're better than most. Anyway, Nostra Cavanas. That's funny as well. Somebody got to ring the bell. That was good, Caleb. That was really good.
It just came to me.
I'm not going there. Anyway, so there are some tea leaves out there that really have made me just wonder about some things. Gold, for a very long time, was currency. Matter of fact, if Lewis, if we look at this and we think about this, can you confirm this, that for the vast majority of human history, gold was the currency? Is that a correct statement?
Gold was money since the beginning of recorded times.
But only in the last 112 years, 115 years, have we separated gold from currency. Is that correct?
That's correct. The beginning of the end started in the 30s.
I thought it actually started probably in the teens when the Fed was conceived in that.
There was,
you know,
there was a serious recall of gold. The first time, I guess you'd say actually the second time, the United States went bankrupt.
Well, okay, so back up here. The second time, I was only aware that the U.S. went bankrupt when they called in all the gold. I wasn't so what, War of 1812, we went bankrupt? Is that?
We actually went broke right after the Civil War.
Okay.
And we clawed our way out of that. They reduced the size of gold coins and silver coins and reevaluated. So all of a sudden, what used to be a $10 gold piece, they took a few grams out of it and they have a new $10 gold piece.
Okay, so pause right there. We got to talk about that. We're going to come back to the rest of that story, but we got to. So gold wasn't necessarily reevaluated by the government saying the price per ounce just went from $10 to $15. What they did was they said, now a $10 gold piece doesn't weigh an ounce. It weighs 3/4 of an ounce. Correct?
Oh, your weights are wrong, but that's exactly what
that's the
exactly
premise.
what they did. If you go back to the old banking laws that they set up right after they did the Constitution, they described the dollar as so many grains of silver, and what they called an eagle, which is a $10 gold coins, is so many grains of gold.
Okay.
And they have knocked it down
Again and again and again and again.
and again until they finally knocked it out. and that was the basis of it. They kept going down and then reevaluating and doing that over and over and over again.
So the shell game, where they put a ball underneath 3 coconut shells and they just start moving it around, that's been going on since the Civil War. Am I hearing you right?
It actually started before the Civil War, but right after the Civil War, we went busted. And that's when a lot of gold was forced to come back in. We had to pay a lot of debts. The South naturally defaulted on their debts.
Correct.
The United States government didn't have enough gold. So that's when the advent of the world famous paper greenback.
Which
came into
was
effect.
at that time a silver note. Correct.
It was called a United States note.
Okay. So it went from a silver note to a United States note.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the first paper for the United States came out in 1861, which is the beginning of the Civil War. By the end of the Civil War, we were downright broke. And the people that we borrowed money to, who was financing the war on both sides, were mainly the Europeans.
So
And they wanted their cash back. And they didn't want paper, and they didn't want treasury bonds. They wanted gold.
So what you're telling me is that if the United States in the next 4 years were to revalue gold in some way, it would not be a unique concept.
It would far from be unprecedented.
Now, what I find really interesting in this conversation, and this is why I was so glad you were here as we record this lost episode of Implicit Bias. The notion, first of all, the bill has been introduced to bring the United States back to the gold standard. So for those who don't know, right, in the 30s, we started to go away from the gold standard. It was completed under Nixon when we fully separated from it internationally, and we went to the petrodollar, the oil-based dollar, right? There's a bill now in 2025 to bring us back. My understanding, Lewis, is that if we were to go back to a gold standard, then essentially the United States accounts for the gold that it has and says every dollar that's out there, based upon the value of the gold, you do the math equation. If you've got this much in gold, it's worth this much per ounce. We have this many dollars. You translate, you tokenize essentially the dollar to gold. Now, all of a sudden, you can't just make printers go brrrt, 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 and keep printing dollars out of nowhere, correct?
That's the theory. But every government in the world has cheated on it, lied about it, because government in general does not like the restraint.
Wait, you're telling me government cheats and lies?
Oh, I love how you did that. Every government has cheated. Yes. Thank you for your honesty.
It's sort
sir.
of like your gold ETF. That's one of the big things that have just come out. The GLDs, the SLVs, they just ordered them, and they don't have a fraction in the vaults to back the gold ETFs and SLVs and stuff like that.
What is it, like a 2,000% short?
A lot.
Oh, we're going to go a little long here, Aaron, because this is a deep
Yeah.
conversation. So what would happen? And this is, I guess, my question, because I think this is the big question for everybody out there. What happens if the U.S. does decide to go back to the gold standard? I mean, what's the best theory you can come up with? Now, all of a sudden, do we have to revalue gold? Does gold go from where it is at the recording of this episode, almost 3,000 an ounce? Does it now triple? I mean, because it would have to, essentially, is kind of the theory. Does the government get hamstrung with regards to printing cash? I mean, what happens?
It would be a difficult proposition for all of us to stomach. The government of the world that has the most gold to back their currency.
Is the Vatican. I mean, let's be
That's what-
honest here.
that's
We're
what-
Catholic and Christian on
that-
this show. It's the Vatican. They don't have a currency, and they've got apparently an awful lot of gold underneath the Vatican. That's at least what we hear.
That's the story. But the official one is Switzerland,
Okay.
and they barely cover 50.
Well, that's because they stole it from the Nazis. I
It-
mean, let's be
they-
honest.
That I can give you another story about where a lot of our gold went.
Well, if you want to talk,
when-
if you're talking about the vaults underneath the World
Eh,
Trade
I
Centers,
mean, when I'm talking about it went to Switzerland. A lot of it went to Switzerland in the 30s.
Okay.
the big banks had knowledge when they recalled gold from the citizens of the country.
Oh yeah.
The big banks, and some of those are still around today. you know.
UBS. Sorry.
Yep. JP Morgan,
Yeah.
Chase Bank.
Yep.
Gold was transferred to Switzerland. So if today somebody would call me up and say, look, I need 250 $20 gold pieces, they would not come from Salt Lake City, Utah. They'd come from one of the banks of Switzerland.
Okay. So being on that point, we're going to stop right there. We're going to go to break. We're going to continue this conversation because that whole question of if I want to buy gold, that's a whole nother question of who's buying gold right now and maybe why are those people buying gold? We're going to come back to that. We're going to have a few more weekly whiskeys. We hope if you're watching live, you have a few more weekly whiskeys with us. We hope if you're listening, you have a couple with us as well. But we'll be back with more Implicit Bias Radio. Because I know who's buying all the gold.
I
right now.
love how he went there, and you stopped him.
No, but because we have to.
Yeah,
Because we want to continue this conversation. We can't go on for another 10 minutes in this segment.
Oh, that's good too, though. That's good.
Oh, what do I want? What
That's
do I
a
want? What do
great
I want?
topic.
So I hope that the people who are out there watching, and I guess I should log in on my Facebook and I can go from my personal page. And
Oh, you said my Facebook, not the Facebook. Why do I sound older?
because you are old. I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm catching up in gray hair, by the way.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
It's coming. You'll be distinguished one day.
Tug, how old are you?
call it extinguished.
Extinguished. Yeah.
You 30?
I just turned 30.
Tug, are you serious?
Yeah.
You just turned 30?
December 27th.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy
Thank
Number
you.
one, a
Thank you.
month to the day
months.
after my birthday. No, just I'm thinking
Oh.
mine's the 27th of November. He's the 27th of December. Both of my brothers are the 29th. So I missed being on the 29th, 29th with my two brothers
Oh.
by 2 days. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Two
thank you,
more
man.
2 more weeks, I'll be 63.
Dang.
Too
Renee.
close 2 years to Social Security.
So
2
Tug,
years away from not getting a damn thing from the U.S.
well,
government.
maybe Medicare.
Tug,
I mean, maybe Medicare.
maybe. Tug is trying to underrun gray hair, and Lewis outran it a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Oh yeah, he just shaved it all off. I'm not that brave yet.
How
I'm
old
too
are you?
lazy.
What's the age limit for the
After
senior
you
citizen
get
discounts?
tired
I
of
don't know.
moving it around from one side to the other and you still see
Okay.
clear cutting.
So you ready? You ready? Because there's no age limit for the senior
Well,
citizen
you know what I
discount.
mean.
It starts happening. I have started getting stuff, and y'all can laugh. Go ahead, Caleb. I've started getting stuff from AARP.
Oh, so I'm a member.
Oh, dude, that starts at
Wait, you're a
before
member?
50.
I'm an AARP member.
No, you need to change that.
Correct.
You need to drop that. Go to
You-
AMAC.
You told me that there are a bunch
Yes.
of liberal
They
Oh
are.
yeah, they are.
things.
They're anti-gun, dude. Big time
Really?
anti-gun. Yes. Go to AMAC.
Honey, cancel that membership right now.
Yeah. Dude, AARP is very anti-gun. They really are. In
Well, I
fact,
didn't know.
All right.
Hannity, Levin, all of those, they advertise AMAC.
This is the
AMAC,
get ready for the penultimate segment.
AMAC.
Yes.
AMAC.
right. Let's roll with this. It's 8:30
Give me one
our time.
Okay.
For those watching in Dubai, I don't know what time it is. your time.
Call me and
Plus
I'll
15.
I'll remind you.
Okay.
3, 2.
Hour two
Wait,
of
wait, wait,
implicit.
wait,
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 wait, what? Are you kidding me?
He
Tom?
counted
Come on.
down. Did you do that to your wife too? You're like 3, 2, not yet, baby.
Oh my goodness, this could be dangerous if we do this live too many times. If we get way too accustomed to this could get ugly.
That's that bonus content we always wanted to do.
Oh,
Follow us if my microphone worked. Follow us on Patreon for only $5.99 a
Yeah.
month.
okay. So it's really funny, and we'll give this just a sec because we can tell this story to those who are going to see this video and watch. So we have this Instagram post that has over 250,000 views. And the
It's
funny
crazy.
part is some Yahoo made the comment, these guys are grifters getting paid off of your stupidity. And it's like, bruh, do you think I'm making Joe Rogan money? No.
Bruh, I pay to be
Yeah,
here.
It's like you have
Damn.
no idea.
We all pay
I'm
to
a-
be here.
All of us. Yeah, in some way, shape, or
Wait,
form.
I'm going to comment on that post.
Yeah. Oh, please don't feed the trolls.
I'd love to feed the trolls.
I know you do, which is why I shouldn't have said anything. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll penultimate segment, Tug.
3, 2.
Second to last segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon, which means it is the penultimate segment. Yes, the second to last that we are going to do for this week. We are in an absolutely fascinating conversation about the golden rule. And I don't mean treat your neighbor as yourself. I mean the golden rule, as in he who has the gold makes the rules. Because why? We have a crew here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL that is absolutely fascinating. In the chair like mine, he is the Tan, the myth, the legend. He is the rustic renegade. Yeah. Oh, please do that smile again. Make sure we get it, because that makes me. Anyway, I'm just going to say it makes me wonder. All right, to the bar, Renee Girard, and of course, the person who is the expert on all things coin and treasure. Why? Because he actually owns a store called Coin and Treasure here in Lafayette, Louisiana. He's the numismatist, Louis Pizzolatto. And Louis, we were talking about if you wanted to buy gold from Switzerland, right? Or if you wanted to buy gold, it's not going to come from Switzerland. It's not going to come from Utah. It's going to come from Switzerland, correct?
Any large quantities, especially, and this is something that we're not talking about the new American Eagles, new Maple Leafs and stuff. But it just so happens the older gold coins that were recalled
By the U.S.
by
Treasury.
the U.S.
in the 30s.
Treasury, that's where the quantities sit.
Okay, so let me tell this story very quickly for those who might not know it. In the 30s, you probably know the year, what year this happened.
29 is when it began.
1929. The U.S. made it illegal for citizens to own bulk gold and told citizens you have to turn this gold in. Gold at that time, before citizens turned it in, do you remember what it was worth, Louis?
It was worth $34 an ounce.
Then the next day, after the deadline for everybody to turn it in,
48 bucks.
yes, the U.S. government revalued gold by 30%. We're going to increase the value of it. So essentially what the government did was take the possessions of the U.S. citizens, confiscate it, and then say, oh, not only did we confiscate it, now it's worth 30% more.
Except for some select banks that most of them are still around today, and very, very familiar names that we've heard of in the financial circles for decades and decades and decades. They managed to get all of theirs to banks in Switzerland.
And please don't believe us on this. Please go look this up. Because if we look this up, we'll laugh about it, we'll joke, and you'll realize it's the truth. Because that's how you have to tell people the truth. You got to laugh about it. I don't know how much you'll actually laugh when you realize what was done to us, but it happened. Anyway, so to go back to this, today, if you want to buy gold, it's unless you're buying small quantities, right? It has to come from those institutions, correct?
Not the way it works is modern gold coins, the American Eagle gold coins that you know something about, the Canadian Maple Leafs, the current issue stuff. Yes, it's coming from within the countries.
Okay.
But the older coins in quantity, they were sent, because you're not going to be sending a coin made last month in 1929. They were sent overseas, where they rested till after World War II
And disappeared.
until in 74, when Ford, at the time, was the president of the United States. He allowed gold ownership again. Well, now we start buying gold. Well, yeah, it'd be nice to have a few gold coins. Well, guess what?
Yeah, but it wasn't $48 anymore.
No, it was not. They just happen to have a few of them nuzzled in Switzerland.
So I'm going to ask this question. Who is buying the bulk of gold today? Because this is going to tell you where it's going.
The bulk of the gold is being bought by overseas central banks and overseas countries.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So you mean to tell me that countries today are investing in gold? Not
Absolutely.
What does that tell us about maybe where we should place our money?
That tells me that they know something in advance that the average schmuck like ourselves do not know on the streets.
Hey, you can give yourself credit and call yourself an average schmuck. I am a well below average schmuck. I'll have you know.
I talk about my office. In my office, it's a mirror of what's going on around the country.
Yep.
A few years ago, the vast majority of gold that we were needing one way or the other, we were buying to sell to customers.
Mhm.
From now, it's reversed with us. Now, understand, I'm not crying because we make money
Either way,
each
yeah.
way you go. But where's that gold going? You would think if I'm buying way more than I'm selling, the price of gold, and everybody in the country is doing that, you'd think the price of gold would be going down. Wrong. It is
Going
going
up.
up.
Yep.
Why? Because they're turning gold coins, gold rings, gold necklaces into what they call COMEX deliverable ingots, which are the big gold bars that you see. They're being shipped overseas to the Middle East, the Far East, Asia, Europe, China. Everywhere is buying large and major amounts of gold.
So we need to wrap this gold discussion up, and it's fascinating to me. But I think that's where we need to land it, which is somebody knows something.
And that's why the price is going up. Not because I'm buying a lot more gold than I used to buy. And not because I'm selling it
It's because
locally.
institutions and
It's
countries.
institutions that are buying tremendous amounts of gold.
Okay. So I want to shift gears because this is a fascinating conversation and we need to have time to do this. And I want to start here. I know, Renee, you know this story. Caleb maybe knows this story more intimately than anyone else here in the Mr. Lester's Top Secret Podcast lair. And it's this. So there is, and I'm going to call this a legend. We're going to let Caleb maybe certify this or not certify this. That the initial version of night vision goggles came out as a different color than what night vision goggles look like today. So today, if you put on a set of NVGs, night vision goggles, what you see is typically green. Green, different hues of white to black. But the initial ones, which were put out in Vietnam, were put out with red as the color. And some people are claiming that it was something called Dacian glass. Now, the difference here is that, and this is what brings this up, is there is a video that's floating around on the interwebs of someone looking at a red laser, and they're saying, man, all we see are numbers. We're seeing numbers like the Matrix, to go back to our discussion in hour one. We're seeing numbers like the Matrix inside of red light. But soldiers saw a much different thing inside of red night vision goggles. Caleb, do you want to fill us in on that?
And look, when I joined, when I was in, green was the main color you saw, and then we transitioned to Gen 3, which is white phosphorus, which is whites, blacks, things of those ranges. And the green, it does mess up the cones and the rods in your eyes. I saw pink for probably 2.5, 3 weeks because I wore my nods too long, didn't transition like you're supposed to. But even then, I talked to the old timers, which an old timer back then was 40. And the old timers had heard rumors about red phos or red nods. And there were stories about people seeing demons and flying individuals,
Basically a different dimension?
interdimensional vision, all around them when they were flying out in the original UH-1s, the Hueys and everything else. And I've gone down these rabbit holes. When you read it, it's scary. I don't think it's too far-fetched. I really don't, because the things you see, everything happens at night. Everything, because everything's supposed to be asleep. And when you wear your nods too long, things happen. When you go without sleep for long enough, things happen. I cannot imagine seeing things from a different dimension, a different purpose, a different direction during that process, because we all fear the things that go bump in the night.
Well, if we think about it as a kid, no one, I think, told me bad things happen at night, or there are things that are in the night that are bad.
Mhm.
It was almost like I inherently knew. right? I mean, I think there's a universal fear of dark. I mean, it's a biblical theme, light versus dark. This is how far back it goes, thousands of years. We seem to know that things in the black and in the dark aren't good, or things where there is an absence of light. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
That's probably the better way to put it, because in the absence of light, we don't understand what is happening around us.
Renee, you want to chime in on this?
Well, I saw a thing on the Facebook. It's like, a little girl asked her mom, "Mom, can I sleep with you tonight?" And he goes, "No, dear, because I don't want the monsters coming in and killing me."
So herein lies, I think, the big question here, right? As we get down this rabbit hole, are there things that we can't explain? Are there things that people have seen that we hear and we go, you just sound crazy, so I'm going to write you off as crazy, but it's the truth. And we can't laugh at it.
We don't know.
We don't know. And we're going to have to find out in the final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias, when we go down one more rabbit hole that you don't want to miss on Implicit Bias Radio.
Y'all keep the show interesting for the listeners. I'm going to use the potty.
Oh, okay. Caleb needs a break.
Yeah.
Because we've got one segment left, and we've got what, like 9 minutes in this segment because we've gone long?
Well, it takes me that long to build up.
How long?
About 11 minutes.
Oh, 11 minutes?
I dropped it.
He's got to get out the comfy chair.
Caleb, you're breaking all your stuff. Caleb, hold on. Your headphones. Your headphones. You need to take those off.
Yeah.
You can't walk away with those.
Underneath, in between, wrap around.
You can take the What Would You Pay championship belt chain and get the toilet plume on it when you flush, but you cannot take the headphones.
I'm kind of bummed. I'm kind of bummed that I'm not in the comfy chair this week.
You
Well,
like the comfy chair,
Oh,
Renee?
the comfy chairs are, dude, those are comfy.
Well, that's why they're called comfy chair.
Well, yeah. I'm at the kids' table now. I've been relegated to the kids' table again.
You are not relegated to the kids' table.
The two of us sitting at this table, it's very hard to call us kids. I can tell you that.
Well, not just that. Saying you're relegated to the kids' table means that we have just designated you there. Saying you're confined there means that we put you there for a reason.
Oh, yeah, we're there. Lewis and I together, there's two senior guys in the room.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and I'm look. There's no doubt.
Dude,
There's
we
no
can-
doubt that I'm third, right behind the two of y'all.
we can still write and read cursive.
Oh no, I can do that. That tells you. I mean, my handwriting is chicken scratch. I will
They
say.
no longer teach that.
But no, I was taught cursive. My handwriting has always been messy. My handwriting looks like a doctor's handwriting.
Wait, taught cursive? You mean italics?
So, but Renee, it's amazing that a younger generation today probably does not understand that you
No.
write like a doctor.
My daughter cannot. Well, she's learned because I've taught her. But in school, my son, who is gonna be 29 this year, was not. They had 2 weeks of cursive.
If
I
there's,
had to teach him how to sign his name.
If-
My daughter's the same way.
if there's one thing I can say about the schools where we sent my children, I was fortunate enough that they taught them a lot of old school ways and
My
things.
kids went to public school, and they stopped. Like I said, my 29-year-old son got 2 weeks of cursive in third grade, and my daughter got maybe a week. And I had to teach them how to sign their name. How do the younger generation do their signatures?
Probably the same way you speak English after about 12 whiskeys. I don't know.
Well, I didn't have 12. I had like 6.
You had like 6. It's all right.
Kavan, the
Yes.
comments on our social media is just phenomenal. I've responded to like 12 of them already, just so you know.
Please tell me, are you responding to like the Instagram?
Instagram,
comments?
yeah.
Oh, heaven help us.
Yeah.
Please tell me you are responding as Caleb Morris.
As me. as
Okay,
me,
good. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I'm having fun with this. One person said that podcast equipment should have a 2,000% tariff.
Yeah, oh no, I saw that one.
Yeah, I replied.
Which is why the response probably should be, and your keyboard should cost $40 million to carry the insolence, ignorance, and moronic mentality that you have. I mean, it's just that simple, right?
I'm really surprised by the number of people who think that Triple H has an accent.
He doesn't, which is crazy.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right, we got one more segment.
I think he might have a little more accent than I do.
No, I don't think either of you have a bad accent at all.
We'll go back to our live.
Shall we?
Waiting on you.
3, 2.
Final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. We're down the rabbit hole on this episode. It is the lost episode, which means that we can talk about things that, well, we don't always maybe bring into the conversation, but things that nonetheless make you go, And yes, I am quoting CNC Music Factory from about 1990, 1989, somewhere around there. Anyway, what, Renee? Yeah, I know. You remember.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. And so was I. And so was we know Lewis was there. Caleb was actually there for that.
No,
Oh, don't tell
I was
me. You weren't.
underage.
Oh, please.
I was
You
I
were-
was 5 in '89.
You were underage, but there.
Yes, you were.
You were
Correct.
at Club Spritz.
At that point in my life, I was probably not far from your neighborhood. So I lived in the bustling metropolis of Metairie.
Metairie, yeah, Metairie, Louisiana, where I grew up just off the lake in Metairie, just outside of New Orleans. So yeah, you probably weren't far away, but I was also, so let's see. Yeah, I'm what, 12 years older than you, something like that. So
That math works, yeah.
totally different place. I was 17, 18, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get into the final topic, which is this. And it's a topic that I've always wanted to ask someone who served multiple tours in the Middle East about.
That's you.
Yeah.
That would be Caleb,
Yeah.
right?
Mr. 6 years in the Middle East. So yeah.
That's all you spent. I'm actually shocked that
It's
that's
between
all it
6
was.
and 7. So
So you had a couple years technically under Uncle Sam and then multiple years under an individual contractor, correct?
correct.
So here's the question, and this is the theory. This is what we are hearing and seeing, and I'm curious as to what truth there might be to this, and if you actually know anything about this, because the reality is it's a small world. Talk to people, and you will find out that the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is 6 degrees of basically anyone. So my question is this: there are stories online that a tomb was discovered underneath the Euphrates River,
Mhm.
which was drying up. Oh, say 1990, 1991-ish. And as soon as the announcement was made that the tomb of Gilgamesh was found, months later, there is a massive war in exactly that area, which would be Iraq, that at exactly the spot where this archaeological find was announced, and look, these things did happen. An archaeologist did find and claim that he found the tomb of Gilgamesh. Immediately after that, within a month, 2 months, 3 months, we were at war and archaeologists were pulled out of the area. So Gilgamesh, the first point is, for those who don't know who Gilgamesh was, the Epic of Gilgamesh. He was a Sumerian king that was allegedly somewhere between 12 to 15 feet tall, an absolute tyrant who oversaw and basically ruled the world at that time. And if you follow the Epic of Gilgamesh, there's things like a great flood. Sounds like Noah. Anyway, right? I mean, you've got these things in there. And then when he died, they buried him allegedly under the Euphrates, which is where this archaeological find allegedly happens. So the first question is, did you run across anyone who knew anything about any of this or was tied to any of this?
Well, I didn't run across anyone who had been part of the process of exhuming the gravesite.
Whoa. So now you're saying that either the archaeologist or the U.S. military worked on the gravesite? Which one?
I ran across a lot of people who knew about Gilgamesh and Inkannu and knew that this was not the first time his tomb had been, I'm air quoting, found. It's been found multiple times.
That's interesting.
No one has exhumed it or had at the time. And the fear of the locals on disturbing the resting place of Gilgamesh is mighty.
It's palpable. It's
Yes.
real.
Yeah. People don't want anything to do with that part of their history coming back. Gilgamesh and Inkannu were mighty warriors who no one stood a chance against. They were leaps and bounds above many others from the times, and in that region, they hold a very special place.
Well, let's be honest. The Bible has a giant in it who is alive
Well,
at the time. Well, it's got more than one,
We
but
have
it's
more
got
than one.
one who's very prominent.
Yeah.
I mean, Goliath is a
Mhm.
thing. For those who don't recognize that Goliath had to be a physical giant, I mean, you're missing something. So the Bible recognizes that giants existed.
Mhm.
We now have this, which allegedly some of the locals say that when the U.S. took over the site, right over where the archaeological find was, that they were digging at night to do things. So there's all of this. And then you get this legend of the giant of Kandahar, that some U.S. special forces go into the mountains outside of Kandahar and physically fight a giant, a massive, it's inside of a cave. And
Yeah.
it may have even been more than one by
Well,
some of the
and-
accounts.
And when you read the Giant of Kandahar, that's Afghanistan, right? So there's a lot of documentation, and there's a lot of speculation you can find online, but there's a lot of documentation that goes in toward that. And look, there may or may not be official DoD paperwork on it. I've never seen either.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there may or may not be, but I can neither confirm nor
No.
deny that. So
I-
I was really hoping here for a minute.
I wasn't there for that, and I'm very grateful that I wasn't there for that, because if it did happen the way that the alleged paperwork says it did, it would be terrifying, because you have a fire team, a standard fire team, 5 to 6 guys who went in, who did what they do best
Which is kill.
and didn't stand a chance. So the second fire team went in, and there were 2 survivors. Now that's the story. We were told this story, and I mean, look, I'm not a small guy, but I saw guys that I would consider giants when I was in Iraq. And to go up against them in one-on-one combat and other things would be terrifying.
Let's say, were these U.S. soldiers or
No,
were
no,
these?
these were not. Like, I ran around with some pretty big guys, some hard hitters, and a lot of them easily outdid me. And some of the guys that we saw, the locals, were phenomenal. And they were far and few between. But I do personally believe that giants existed. I think that Goliath is not just a story that we read. He had brothers. We know that. When you look at other individuals from that time frame, the Nephilim, the Rephilim, these beings that were not of our bloodline were something to be they were a force to be reckoned with. And the more you dig into the history, when you look at ancient Sumeria, Iraq, Afghanistan, the Middle East, and where we are today, in my opinion, it's undeniable the fact that this existed.
So Louis Renee, giants, yay, nay. I mean, do you think these things are myth, or did we just lose them to written history? Because they might have lost.
Well, I mean, you don't see it, don't mean it didn't exist. You see videos of skeletons that's found, and you don't
There have been
know.
multiple archaeological finds of
I-
people 8, 10, 12,
Yep.
humanoid, but significantly larger than humanity is today.
Yeah.
You
I-
also see it the other way, which is you also see smaller species,
Right.
right? I mean, literally there was
Leprechauns and stuff. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean,
don't know.
look, I'm still searching for the pot of gold at the end of that damn rainbow.
You might be a
when
leprechaun.
I might be. but I don't have a pot of gold, so I can't be. Lewis might have a pot of gold, but Lewis might be an inch and a half too tall for that.
Yeah, Lewis has a pot of gold. But
Lewis, what are you thinking here on Giants? I mean, I know the Giant of Kandahar sounds like a fantastic story.
I think a lot of things are believable. I guess I'm from Missouri a little bit. I'd like to see what.
Oh, you want the show me? You're the show me state.
I'd like to see one. I'd like to even see a skeleton. I could go with that.
well,
supposedly
there's skeletons.
Hold on. Yeah,
But-
allegedly
but-
there are skeletons.
I need to do more reading on this thing because the first I heard of it was when you sent me.
Oh, somebody ring the
the-
bell. Lewis, you learned to read?
Actually, what I did is I had them read it to me.
Oh, okay. There you go. That works. I'm good with
Well,
that.
look.
That's what I do.
If it makes you feel any better, look up, just Google the hanging towers, the hanging gardens of Babylon. Right, I've been there. I've seen that location. I peed on the walls, and when you look at the scale of those buildings,
You are now cursed forever.
when you look at the scale of those buildings, the size of the doorways, and everything else, from a battle point of view, 2-3 people. If that's 2 or 3 people, I'm a leprechaun.
And that is where we have to end this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Caleb is a leprechaun. Renee, he's drunkle.
No.
Lewis, he's still the numismatist. And apparently, I'm Nostradamus. For this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio, the lost episode, we hope you've enjoyed. We hope you've had a fantastic time. We hope you've solved several problems of the world where you are with a couple of weekly whiskeys. And we look forward to seeing you in 7 when we come back with more Implicit Bias Radio. If you are with us on socials, if you are live, we want to thank you for being with us. We appreciate the views that you've given us. I apologize that we didn't actually get to interact. You can blame all of that on Aaron David, who apparently can't handle the workload
I tried.
because he couldn't deal, right? Well, actually, you know what? I don't know that we blame Aaron. I think we blame Walker, who is not Walker, who therefore is Saunter, because he's like over here. I don't know what he was doing for the whole show. He's just pressing a button here.
I
and
saw
there.
his hand in Tug's right pocket.
Okay, so you know what he looked like?
he was watching.
You know what he looked like? I saw a fantastic movie when I was in Nashville. It happened to be on, and it was great. It was Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to say what's
Oklahoma,
eating.
Oklahoma, Oklahoma,
I thought you were
Oklahoma.
going to say what's eating Gilbert Grape. Like, I
No,
was-
no.
Got the fork to the eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why does he have a cork on that fork?
Yeah.
Right. and literally that's who I'm thinking of as I am watching Walker, who is not Walker, who is now Saunter, just punching one button and another. He's like Ruprecht. He's Ruprecht. That is your nickname. So we love you.
Oh, that's
Your
good.
nickname is Ruprecht. If you
Wa-
haven't seen the movie,
Walker
go see it.
200 or
No.
TWO.
Ruprecht. Yep. Ruprecht.
That's a great movie too.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yep.
What's his
Okay.
name?
Steve Martin
Steve
and
Martin.
Michael Caine were
Yeah,
the two in the
yes.
movie who were
Yes.
the funny part is,
Oh, Michael
for those
Caine,
who are
Sir Michael
Star
Caine.
Wars fans, the butler was Emperor Palpatine, which is the really
Yeah.
funny part.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he was the butler. He hated Steve Martin. It was very funny. Very funny movie. Great perspective.
They were and
I'll watch
and
it
for
again.
people that don't know the premise of the movie, they're trying to
They're
con
con men.
a family out of
No,
money.
no, they're trying to con a woman
Yeah. Well,
out of money. And I
yeah.
don't want to spoil it
She
because
felt bad.
there's
She
a
fell-
twist
fell
at
in
the
love.
end. And yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just they are both con men. One is a high-end con man, the other
Yeah.
is a low-end
Yeah.
con man.
Mhm.
And that is what makes it great.
but
because-
it's a great movie.
Because here's the deal. When you recognize that those two guys are con men, you'll realize that every politician who's a career politician is nothing but a con man.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to wish you a very happy Valentine's Day for those who are out there with us. Hopefully you're spending it with someone special. And we hope you have a fantastic weekend. We will see you in 7 because literally
Yeah.
less than a week from tonight, we will be live at Mr. Lester Steakhouse at Cypress Bayou Casino. Enjoy the show, have a few weekly whiskeys, and we'll see you next week.